away we go. Hey, I think we it seems like to me, got some confirmation that Corso is going to get to do the thing here, buddy. You saw Brett McMurphy's tweet?
I did. Usually it's educated guesses from Brett. He doesn't take a swipe at these things.
Yeah, they are usually educated guesses. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, Brett McMurphy, the journalist, tweeted out that with Texas at Ohio State on Fox, it appears Lee Corso's last headgear game, August 30th, is Alabama at Florida State, his alma mater. Corso should dress as Chief Osceola, throw a flaming spear on the at College Game Day desk for his final pick, then ride Renegade off into the sunset, reads the rest of that tweet. It would be cool.
First of all, it's Osceola, not Chief Osceola. Brett, we'll get that cleaned up.
Yeah. But what I would just say is anything that features Lee Corso being able to plant the spear,
yes,
I'm in favor.
Pre-game on the field, hand the spear over to Lee Corso. It's got to happen.
It would be fantastic, and what a fitting way for the man to go out with the career that he's had at a place that he adores and is a legend. It would be phenomenal. There might not be a dry eye in the house. That would be fantastic.
I think you should do it twice. You should have him, and he could have Kirk with him because Kirk has been very important. I know that we have our own problems, but in
Separate
this instance, this is an issue where we are aligned because we all love Coach. You would have him do it maybe from the 50-yard line, maybe not the desk as the show concludes, but you got to do it in the stadium for the game itself. Got to do it. Has to happen. Alabama's lined up on the hash marks. We're lined up on the hash marks. There's Renegade. Renegade sticks the landing. Osceola off of Renegade. Osceola hands over the spear. The crowd goes wild. He holds it in the air. He looks around, does a 360 before he chucks it in the ground. Come on, man. That's what this should be.
It would be fantastic. They'll do something good. They'll do something good with him. And Dan Corso, his son, listens to the show. Thanks for listening, Dan. You've been a loyal supporter for a very long time to this program and to Florida State, of course. And he's in Atlanta. And I would guess that maybe we could, through Dan, work out a situation where we have Lee on the show that week, huh?
Well, that would be something.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
To sit back and just have I'd like to have dialogue with him, just to have him reflect on his career and his time here, really. And that would be cool. And I do think, we're going to get it. I do. I was very excited when we saw that Big Noon or whatever the hell it's called at Fox was going. Now, they've both been there at the same place before, we know. But I still thought that was a real good indicator. And you follow it up with what we have here, it seems to be further evidence that they'll be here, buddy. They'll be here, and that'll be fun. And Lee will be emotional because if you think about what it represents, I mean, that's the end of a very, very, very long career, storied career. And, when you get to the end like that, especially if you're lucky enough to be like him, to have, worked in football in some capacity for, 70 years?
Yeah.
That's an amazing thing. We should all be so lucky, right?
Well, and there's already been in his career 4 or 5 moments that just leave you in a puddle because you sense the emotion that he feels. It could be the speech he gave. I think it was at the ESPYs, but whatever. It might have been the College Football Awards where he thanked ESPN for not giving up on him. There are a couple other moments like that where he was either on the dais for College Game Day proper, or just being featured on ESPN, and what it means to him to be this segment. America's grandpa, really. That's what he was like for me.
Yeah, I think that's true.
I mean, you could tell what it means to the man. A couple of the Navy games. The time that he dressed up as the Statue of Liberty. I mean, there's so many great moments. I think my favorite one is the one because it was organic.
Oh, when he dropped the F-bomb?
Yes.
It's fantastic.
That was Oklahoma or Houston. It was Oklahoma. Yeah. Might have been the two that they might have been playing each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, F it. And then he shoots the gun. Oh my goodness.
And
gracious.
You see everybody on the set go, oh man, my man. What are you going to do? Come after Lee Corso?
No, and plus that's on cable. It wasn't on ABC, so you're not going to get fined. You're just going to get tisk.
Well, Swish Irish is correct there. He should start with the elephant head and then say, F it, and grab. Yeah, that would be fantastic. I don't think we want Lee on Renegade. A couple of you suggested he ride out on the horse. No. It's never a good idea to have the elderly on a horse.
Look, it's his last show, not his last moments.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Big difference. Put him on the horse. It might be both.
That would be a terrifying way to christen the new stadium. Or the renovations.
Oh, no.
The day that we start.
Langford would have to turn into like a place of remembrance.
Yeah. This is where Corso got bucked off the horse and died.
There you see the unconquered statue.
Yeah.
Here's the Corso Memorial.
Yeah, no, not ideal. Anyhow, I hope it happens, and it would be fantastic, and I'd love to see Lee Corso here. And when I saw that tweet, it made me smile. It's a dead of the summer tweet that was not even really summer, but it is here. And you're going, all right, that's a nice little shot in the arm. It should happen. It makes too much sense, and therefore we probably are jaded enough to think because it makes so much sense, it won't happen.
Right, they'll go to Clemson, LSU.
Yeah, you're like, what are you doing? This is a perfect runway for you. You had everything you needed. I do more and more think about that game, obviously, all the time now. It's kind of top of mind for me at least once every other day in passing. I kind of begin to think about what that game could mean, the importance of the game, the importance for the university, for the coaching staff, for the fans, for this team this year. I mean, just it's big. It's very big.
And it might not matter because Alabama has more talent, but in the sense of what it means beyond just 60 minutes of football, we are going to coach it and we are going to play it, and Mike is going to prepare for it, full well knowing the ramifications of that game in a way that Alabama, just by definition, cannot.
Of course.
You know, there was when we played Clemson in 2012, the way that Clemson coached that game, Chad Morris is the offensive coordinator. You could tell.
He went for broke.
Yes, Florida State was playing a game. Clemson was playing for supremacy. Clemson was playing for, we're going to have to air it out because we don't have the talent top to bottom like this roster does, so we got to get creative with it. But there was a desperation to the way that they played the game versus the way we did. We were under control, and we won out over the long haul.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when you look at those two sidelines, the way they managed for this game, it's not that Alabama's not trying to win. It's just that Florida State looks at this game as an opportunity beyond being 1-0 on the schedule.
I think you have to be real careful, and it's at the same time, I think you do have to coach it and play it as if you understand that this is a game that means an awful lot, but it's also a game where I think, frankly, you're outmanned, and you're going to have to coach it like they did in 2012. The Clemson example you give, for people that don't remember, Clemson came out and threw the kitchen sink at Florida State. They had a million gadget plays, trick plays. A lot of them worked. And you could sense the frustration from Coach Stoops, the DC at the time, and going over to talk to Jimbo Fisher. And Fisher's like, it's all right. I got something for that ass. And he did. And repeatedly, we moved the ball and, had our way offensively with Clemson's defense. And at the end, when they ran out of gadgets, Clemson was in trouble. Florida State adjusted nicely, and then it became more straight-up football, and the better team won that day.
Essentially, by the fourth quarter, it was a TKO. If
Right.
that thing went another 10 minutes, we might have won by 2 or 3 more scores.
Right. So it was over at that point. Now, that's what you do when you know that you don't have the better team. You throw everything you got at them and hope to get some momentum, and then maybe cause some doubt on the other sideline, and then maybe then you start counting plays. Then you start, can we get to a place where we're counting plays now? I just want for all the world to have Florida State in a position to win that football game. It will say a lot whether they do or they don't. It will say a ton, not the result of the game, but being in position to win that game in the second half will mean a lot to me. Obviously, if we are, I want to win it. It would be great. Beats the hell out of losing. That's everybody gets that. That's obvious. But if you're in the game, you think about a team that just went 2-10. You think about a team that when they've had an opportunity recently to, obviously we know what happened when they played Georgia, and we can chalk it up to a lot of things, and I agree with many of them, not all, but many. But we looked outman there in a way that was unholy, and a lot of guys opted out. I understand. But now you're on the big stage again with the nation watching, and they don't think back and look at that game the way that we do. They view Florida State through the prism of, well, they got beat 63-3. Wasn't that the score against Georgia? Yeah. And then last year we saw them in a big game at night against Notre Dame, and they lost 51-3. When we've watched Florida State lately in big matchups, talking about the nation, they're going, Florida State's gotten their head handed to them.
Yeah, they weren't even the better team against a middling Georgia Tech squad opening last year in Dublin. I was excited to watch that game. I figured Florida State would win by 17, 20 points and, put this thing back on the tracks.
Speaking on behalf of the country.
Yes.
Yes, you are correct. That's what college football fans sat down thinking they were going to witness.
Yeah, if I'm Mitch in Ann Arbor, that's what I thought of. Whoa, yeah. Georgia. You know what? Tech was actually the better team.
Well, that's the part that sucked. And that's why when we walked out of that stadium, Tom, it was less about the loss, which can happen in funky conditions across the pond in Ireland, a weird game opener, all that stuff. You could lose that game. The problem was all of us coming to the realization we deserved to lose that game. We weren't the better team. It wasn't fluky. That was what was troublesome. And then obviously it was confirmed.
Correct. What was very troublesome about that day, without reliving it all that much, we talked about it in the old storehouse to the point that we were criticized for being too negative leading up to the game. Do you remember this?
We were? Were we criticized?
Yes. Well, because we said that, Tech, at least offensively, is going to be a handful for us because
when I came back from the ACC kickoff, Tom,
they're veteran-laden and they know what they're going to run.
To your point, I came back from the ACC kickoff in Charlotte. Of course, if you recall, interviewed Brent, their head coach.
Yeah.
And I came away impressed. I talked to him on and off the record. I got him to open up with me. He's not like that. Luckily, me knowing Winky helped that process, and he laughed. But you could tell he was confident. He was confident. Why? Well, he's a former offensive lineman, and he loved their offensive line. So you go into a game, any game, and you love your offensive line, you think you can win the line of scrimmage? Well, you got a shot. So he knew we have a shot because I think my guys are going to win the line of scrimmage. Unfortunately, he was right. Turned out to be true. What we didn't realize was that the offense was going to be all at once incredible to watch for the opening series, and then something of a mystery the rest of the way, and very frustrating. And it was a precursor to misery. We couldn't have known it that day, but it was the precursor to a long, long year. In fact, in many ways, that was our best offensive showing.
Yeah, it was. And it had things happen in the first half where I remember getting a text, and we discussed it in the open-air booth, which was glorious. Does he not trust DJ?
Oh, right.
Remember that text that came in? Yeah. My buddy Tyler. There you go, Tyler.
Yep.
Does he not trust him? Because there's one throw downfield.
Right.
Where's the verticality with the arm? Yeah.
You always know, by the way, too, when you're watching any coach, but in particular one that's calling the plays, what does he do with his quarterback on third down? And, we do this in the NFL a lot. You can tell the coaches are like, yeah, I don't have a guy. We can't do what you need us to do and what ideally we would like to do here, but we cannot do that because he's not a guy. So we're going to throw it underneath, hope to break a tackle. We'll see if it works out. If not, we're going to punt.
Maybe get an illegal contact.
Yeah, you see it all the time. Then there are coaches, it's 3rd and 15. It's the NFL. The percentages are overwhelmingly against you, and they're dropped back, slinging it. 4 out in the route. They're like, oh, my guy, he'll make a good decision now. We may not get it, but I trust him. They'll let Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, they let them throw on 3rd and long. They're not having it. But you saw in that game last year, you're like, oh, he doesn't believe in him. He doesn't think he's going to make the throws. That was tough.
What was that design run he called on short yardage?
There was a lot of stuff there where you're kind of like, It was troublesome. I'm just eager to, Lee, I mean, I know it's tough. You can't say it every day, but I got up today thinking about football. It's going to be a long summer for me. I'm going to struggle, Tom. Have mercy on me, football gods. I'm going to struggle.
I was struggling for different reasons this morning. I was just thinking about that golf team, and I watched it down to the bitter end.
I did too.
It was frustrating, very frustrating, because the golf, the quality of it was fantastic.
Yeah. You got to give Stanford credit, man. When they had to make putts, they made putts. And when they had to go at the flag, they did.
Well, and also their short game. Just a couple of chips from death. I mean, you've got no shot.
Yeah.
And somehow they'll find a way to have a shot, and then it's a tap in for par to clean up a massive mistake, short side yourself, no green to work with, chipping on a downslope, you name it. They found their way out of it. And then we lipped out 3 or 4 key putts or burned some edges if it wasn't an outright lip out. But you needed all those to go your way. I was so invested in that, man. Oh, man. I love match play. I love golf. I love it so much.
Yeah.
The psychology of it, the battle. And I love that specific event for the men and the women because you get to watch the 18-hole journey. It's not like a Ryder Cup broadcast where you're playing through for 3 hours out of the 5 hours that you're watching the Ryder Cup, and it's going here and there and everywhere.
Yeah.
You get to go on the journey with the player as they fail for a couple of holes and they lose their swing and they gain it back and they respond. It's just so damn compelling. And for 3 matches to go to extra holes, holy crap.
It's annoying.
It was.
It's annoying.
And I feel like had we won the Woad match, we were going to play in the finals today, and I bet we would have smoked Northwestern, so this one hurts.
You got to give that girl credit. She outplayed Lottie.
Oh, Gane? Well, Gane is a top 15 amateur in the world.
And Lottie is one of the best 2 or 3 players in the world.
Right.
And so you're like, okay.
So we had 1, 2. Mm-hmm. They had 4, 9, 13, 15, and 29.
A deeper and better team.
That's why in the stroke play, they smoked everybody by 20-plus strokes.
A deeper and better team. Yeah. You really had to hope for like an upset in a couple of the other matches. But you didn't. You anticipate winning with Lottie.
The one thing is that I don't understand the mechanics behind the choices they make, so I'm ignorant. But I do raise the question, why not lead her? Because if she was out in the lead group, you win that match. Because she shot 68. She's going to smoke the player that got sent out number 1 for Stanford, and she's going to win that match outright. I just wonder.
I learned, and you're right to ask it, I learned so much about why I trust that they're going to make a good decision there because I used to do this with Trey, and he'd be like, well, let me explain this to you. And he would just break it, and you're like, oh, okay.
Happy to be educated on it.
Yeah.
But even Karen Stupples and Noel yesterday on the broadcast said, I don't understand. I'm, like, I'm glad you said that, Karen, because I don't either.
Thinking it, and I was feeling bad about thinking it, but I'm thinking it too. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah, I'm hurting.
Well, I like your heart. You were in it. You were in it on a Tuesday in May, locked into the Golf Channel watching the ladies.
I saw the light of a natty at the end of a tunnel.
Well, the men will hopefully oblige, sir.
Yeah.
That's tomorrow?
Well, yeah, you got to play 3-4 days of stroke before you get into the final 8.
Before you get into the final 8, yeah. Oh, man. Let's hope it happens. Chef Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
What makes Paul's Termite and Pest Control the best in North Florida?
It's our core values, of course, and they happen to spell Paul's.
P, protecting you and your pets from pests and your property from termites. A, accept personal responsibility. At Paul's, we realize it's up to us to get things right and strive to do more than's expected.
U, uphold company values. Those values include treating others with respect and understanding we represent Paul's Pest Control on and off the clock.
L, look the part. As representatives of this great company, we will always make sure that our image matches the character of Paul's.
S, support the team. Every job we do is a total team effort to create a supportive workplace.
P, protecting you, your pets, and your property. A, accept personal responsibility. U, uphold company values. L, look the part. S, support the team. Paul's core values. They make us the best.
For the elimination of termites and other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Enterprises, roofing and construction services. Construction.com. We conquer all creeks. We fix those dark leaks. Call 850-766-134. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark. T-Spark.com.
CCC 1331204.
Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653. Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Dave in, is it Bardstown? That's correct. Bourbon is your friend. It would suck to lose the Miami rivalry to conference realignment, but it would be hilarious to leave them with absolutely no other rival in a totally empty stadium. Yeah, I hear you, Dave, but I really hope we don't get to a place, and I fear that we will, where we don't play Florida and Miami every year. That has been the downside, a major downside with the realignment and the thieving of teams from other conferences that the SEC and the Big Ten have done. And really just conference realignment in general. We've watched waves of this, including being part of it. You do lose some long-standing traditions that make college football very unique and very different from the NFL. And I think it's what makes college football special. So anytime we lose one of those, it's devastating. I hate it when I watch it from afar. When you know, I don't like, for example, Oklahoma and Nebraska should play every year, but they don't, obviously. And it's been a long time since that was a constant thing. And you feel like Oklahoma State. We've talked about this now, and we've talked about the Apple Cup, and we've talked about a lot of the rivalries that are no more.
I just get the sense that, and this is not educated in the sense that wink, wink, nod, nod. I just feel like, let's just say Florida State went to the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Big Ten would then pick up Miami, because they're still trying to expand their footprint. So it would make sense for them to pick up Miami and get the Southeast and get that market, because also Miami's academic profile is fine. And it would be up to standard and in line with what they want to do.
Very good school, yeah.
I think if Florida State went to the Big Ten would also look at grabbing Miami as well. I feel like it is an outside chance that Miami would get left by the wayside. And the other thing is, clearly the way this is going, as long as the SEC and the Big Ten are still football conferences, and this isn't totally reorganized into a super league.
Mhm.
If they exist as two conferences, they're going to have crossover games. That's going to happen. And if Florida State's in the SEC and Miami's in the Big Ten, that's going to be their crossover game. You know, I feel like there's a really good shot that rivalry will continue. I think Miami will make the cut. It's not that I'm happy about that per se, but I think they're going to make the cut.
Well, I want them to make the cut. I want us to play Miami every year, and I want us to play Florida every year. And I get, by the way, and I've done the math and figured out that it's going to be a hell of a day for Florida State to try to make it to the college football playoff every year if they feature a schedule in which they're, guaranteed to be playing Florida and Miami every year, in addition to, let's say, an SEC slate that features LSU, Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama. Like, well, it's a hell of a year, boys. We're playing a gauntlet. But if it's a 16-team playoff, you can lose 3 times and make it into the playoffs. Got to have some significant wins if that's the case, but you would have every opportunity. So I can live with it. We've said all along that when this thing continued to expand, and they made the seasons longer when I was growing up, it was a 10-game season. That's why you tried to win 10 games. You were going to go undefeated if you did. Then it became an 11-game season, and 10 was still a high water mark because it meant you only lost 1 game. Then it became a 12-game season. You still valued 10 wins because you were going double-digit wins was always the thing. And now we see teams routinely play 14, even 15 games. So when we were going to merge into what inevitably looked like 2 super conferences or 2 mega conferences where all the good teams lived, I just figured fans had to brace themselves for the commonality of a 9-3 regular season. That's just what we're going to have. And if you're 9-3 with the best schedule or one of the 5 best schedules in the country, you'll make the playoff, and you'll deserve to. And that's where I agree. I know it pisses people off, but I kind of agree with people in the SEC or the Big Ten for what it's becoming. Most years, not always. There's some years where the conference is down, legitimately down, and they lose non-conference matchups and reveal that they're weak or weaker. And in those years, just like every year, you have to decide specific to the facts of that singular season. But most of the time, it's fair. If you have Florida's schedule from a year ago, that's a different looking 7-5 than many other people's 7-5. That's a damn impressive 7-5 is what that is.
Sure, relative to other 7-5s, I would agree. The thing that I have always the problem with is nobody looks at the situation as a one-year one-off. They look at the reputation based off multiple years, for the most part, as it relates to a conference like the SEC. The way it's talked about is it's impervious to criticism from so many in the national media, which is very frustrating because last year I thought it was wholly gettable, and it was proven. It was proven that it was wholly gettable and weak. Relative to its reputation, it was weak
to its reputation. And this is where many in our fan base and others, I think, make the mistake. The pushback, which I agree with you on, there are years where you can tell that the pundits don't want to say anything negative about a league that might have warts.
Yeah, it's either lazy or malicious, one of the two.
It's silly. I mean, you can do it. There are years where you can flat out say, look, guys, this team played this out-of-conference game and lost it. This team got blown out by a 6-loss team. This team played out-of-conference against that team in the Big Ten and lost by 21. I'm letting you know now that it's not what it normally is. You can do that objectively and point to the facts that make your case. Then there are years where I hear people on the other side of the fence blanketly say that, well, the SEC shouldn't get so much preference and benefit of the doubt. And then the draft happens, and the largest number of players are selected from that league, and it's not close. So by definition, you were facing better talent week to week to week. And we know that. It's revealed. I mean, we've had years where they had, 3 times the number of players taken than any other conference.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're talking about over the long haul, the grind of it, that's a real thing. But we also know that there are plenty of programs, we've been one of them for fits and starts. A lot of guys get drafted. Not a whole lot of wins parlayed out of the career of the guys that get drafted. Miami last year, for example, had the number 1 pick in the draft, but they also had more dudes on that team that were NFL draft worthy and were drafted.
Mm-hmm.
How the hell you lose 3 games and probably should have lost 5? That matters as well.
Yes.
And just because you might have, 6 draft picks coming out of
doesn't
your program,
mean I agree.
Doesn't mean that you're inherently worthy of a playoff berth and at-large bid consideration.
Yeah,
for
how
that
you
top
play
25
matters.
vote.
Russ,
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, the results have to matter.
yeah, because that means that your
But
coaching, your development, or something is a
Something's
wash.
lacking. Yeah, it's very hard. We get into these. It's a nuanced discussion. It's never as black and white as people want to make it be, because some years I would argue to the hilt that it's the deepest and best conference and it's not close. And there are other years where I'd say, they may be the third best conference this year. I'm seeing a really balanced and talented Big Ten. And don't look now, but there are 6 teams in the Big 12 that I would pit against a number of SEC hierarchy and feel good about the matchup. Yeah, that happens sometimes. Most of the time it doesn't, but it does happen. And those years you have to be objective enough to say it. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Well, and this is where not having balanced schedules hurts you a ton. You know, there is no selection committee in Major League Baseball for the playoffs, even though the Central in the American League has been a very weak division over the years. And
not now, though.
It's not. Recently, it's not.
Yeah.
Take the 10-year snapshot. You know what I mean? And you look at the East or the West. The West has been very good for a long time. But there's no selection committee poo-pooing the accomplishments of a schedule relative to the AL or the NL Central against the West. For example, this year, the NL West. It doesn't happen. Like, you win it and you go. Your record is your record, and therefore you go. I don't care that you had 15 games against, well, a couple of years ago, 19 games against Kansas City and the White Sox and Cleveland. Too bad. You won 92, you're in. You won 92 games.
Yeah, you win your division, you're in.
And it seems like they're trying to push against that notion in college football so much that you could win 13 and be an afterthought in a given situation. Like, not even considered.
Yeah, we said it attacks at the heart of the integrity of the sport.
Right.
You can't have that. You can never have that.
And part of the problem, some of the cause to that effect, are these talking points on a daily basis about this conference. And it's like, guys, then just let Vegas spreads determine who goes, the future odds.
Right.
And then take the top 8.
No, you definitely got to play the games. I find it almost loathsome to have the conversations most years, because you're not going to find somebody who's not promoting an angle. There's a reason that they're doing it. And you get this with people who hate the SEC and people who love it. You get the extremes, like, it's so easy. And if you're in that business, you can make it happen because it's low-hanging fruit. If you're Danny Cannell, you can take the examples that make your argument and tweet them, because it's going to piss off all of the SEC and they're all going to go running with it, right? And then if you're, what's his face?
Paul.
Yeah, Paul. I never remember his name anymore. That's good.
That's a good sign.
Yeah. But if you're Paul Feinbaum, then you do the opposite. You just cherry pick the moments that.
And I think we both agree that we roll our eyes equally at both.
Oh, yes, all the time.
I mean,
yeah, I'm like, come on, man.
Like, oh, Danny, you're going to add Paul just to get engagement. Stop it.
But they're playing the game. It's what they're doing.
Yes.
They're playing the game.
It's not serious.
No,
but
it's not a real thing. It's not a real thing.
It's not a real conversation.
Of course not. And I find it exceedingly difficult to find one of those, certainly in a tweet. So you're not going to do that. It's Jeff Cameron, Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A Mitchell County woman was arrested in Grady County after officials claim she intentionally set up a restaurant on. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Frombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Chance of thunderstorms this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies expected. Daytime highs approaching 90. Winds out of the west, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Chance for scattered thunderstorms tonight. Lows dip down to about 67. Mainly cloudy skies expected. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Tomorrow, high of 91. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, $89.
Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, PS4, and PS5. You name it. Locally owned and operated since 1994, trade-ins are not only welcome, but Games for Less pays more for your trade-ins than the big chain stores. That's not all. Games for Less now buys and sells new and used vinyl records to boot. George loves the Beatles, by the way. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachian Parkway. There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's like, families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch.
Or the Yeti, right?
Yep,
and then
Yeti.
Here in Florida, that's a skunk ape. And,
I've never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Florida, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Jeff Cameron Show on a Ballsmick Wednesday. Hope you're doing well. You saw a 7-foot center make his way to town to visit Florida State. Obviously, trying to put together the rest of this team, and you need a big man, and this is a big man. He's Malcolm Wilson. He's a 7-footer that played at Queens University, I should say. Led the nation in block shots at 3.3 per game. Not an offensive juggernaut. Does have athleticism for the size. I believe that's why Luke is looking at him, because he wants to get out and run, and you need a big man that can do it. Can he give you 20 minutes a night running up and down the floor, some big rebounds, block some shots? I think he can. We'll see. He does have to get the waiver to be able to play. He needs an eligibility waiver. It seems to me, based on the track record we've seen lately, he'll get that eligibility waiver. So Malcolm Wilson, center from Queens University, if you want to look him up and see the highlights, he's a defensive presence. He's a 7-footer with a huge wingspan who blocks shots.
Yeah, I wonder from Luke Lauk's perspective how many minutes you really want out of a guy like that. 12? 15?
Yeah, I said 12 to 20 is what I was thinking.
I wonder if it might not just be somebody
matchups too.
Yeah, exactly. Based on the matchup, maybe it's closer to 20, but maybe he's somebody you start the game with. It's not to say that you're trying to carbon copy Leonard, because Luke is going to be very different, but maybe you start the game a little bit differently, and as it goes along, now you start to open it up with all of your positionless basketball. You got your point guard, and then everybody goes. It'll be interesting to see how he manages the roster, like actually beyond putting it together. Now you've got to rotate. What does your rotation look like? Are you a believer in staggering minutes across 8 bodies, 9 bodies, or do you believe that your 2 best players need to be out there for 32 to 35 minutes a game? It's all on the table now for Luke to redefine what this thing is about. This guy would be a really nice piece, because if you're going to go take a flyer on somebody, how about have it be the best shot blocker in the country? Sounds good.
Yeah, take a flyer on a 7-footer with that length who is really proficient at blocking shots. I'm with you on this. And we'll see. Now, it's no guarantee that you're going to get the guy. He's looking at other schools. He did not want to divulge which other schools that he's talking to, but he is. So you find it suspect?
I do.
You don't think any other school's talking to him?
No, I think that's I want more money than what you told me in the meeting that we had.
Yes, that's what that is. But there may very well be another team.
I guess. I forget who was. I think it was Sawchuck. When Sawchuck was on campus, is this your last visit? And he goes, no, I've got some other things planned. I think I might.
They're all going to say that.
I think I might go to West Virginia. I'm like, oh, yeah, you do that. Yeah, you hop on the plane and go to West Virginia. Absolutely. And then, obviously, he was already committed to Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
It was just that he's trying to get the numbers to work. So, sorry, forgive me. I rolled my eyes off camera, but you saw it.
No, it made me laugh. That's why, because when I read his quote about wanting to talk to other teams and that I'm still actively talking to other teams, I thought, kind of went out of your way to say that.
How about an extra 30 grand? What do you say? It's my last go with this, guys. I got one more year.
Hey, somebody asked about it in the chat, and it has nothing to do with nothing except for I was watching when it happened, and I think you were too. And we had another umpire show last night, and it involved the game your team was in.
Oh, good Lord.
Walker Buehler gets thrown out.
Trapper keeper.
And he should have gotten thrown out, meaning I applaud him for getting thrown out. That was nonsense, and it was funny because the camera caught every bit of the FU that was delivered by Walker Buehler, and that FU was spelled out more than once and repeated. And that's when he got the axe because – first of all, it's a throw down to second after a strike down the heart, and he had been screwed already. And then he saw that the pitch wasn't called a strike on the throw down to second. He's not even looking to see if they get the guy at second, which he didn't because it's Lindor. And he's looking at him, and you see the ump look back at him and say something to him. And this is where I have a problem. Stop doing that. Major League Baseball umpires must feel like they are the king of the diamond at the start of every game. And they start fights. You're going to get a look. Every official in every sport gets a look from the combatants. Players are always going to try and get a call in any sport, football, basketball, baseball. And they're especially going to get upset when they feel they were wronged by a call or a non-call. And you, as an official, have to know that's part of the gig. It doesn't mean you have the green light to then engage and try to escalate the situation as opposed to ignore and move on to the next pitch. I don't know why this is so effing hard for MLB to get these guys to do.
Look, man, that's our culture now. Our culture is about escalating the situation. Everybody from a mall cop to an umpire, they all think that this is for them. All the purpose of everything around them is for them, and it's their movie that they're living in. And this is why when we point, rightly so, to many college athletes living in a movie, I do bring it back up.
Stop doing that.
That officials and umpires have been doing that for decades. They believe it's about them. And unfortunately, that is a legacy of Major League Baseball umpires more than most in the officiating fraternity. Because their union has been strong for decades. I remember the umpire strike back in the 90s.
Yes.
And they ended up winning. And look at them. Joe West and Angel Hernandez.
Yes, had jobs inexplicably for very long periods of time, despite having been suspended more than once because of their behavior.
No repercussions for sucking at their job. They continued to work. They continued to get paid. And so there's a sense of entitlement in the MLB umpire community.
It is, and it's a strong union that you point out, but I would say this. They have gotten better about evaluating umpire strike zones now. They have the technology to do so. It's no longer like, I think that was a strike, you missed it, Joe. They now know this was a strike, you missed it, Joe. It's right here.
Unfortunately, I think the strength of the union is showing in an instance where we already have the technology. It's much like you said about the chip in the football,
right,
or the first down line. You don't need the chain gang.
No. You don't need a bunch of old dudes who can barely move trying to keep up where the spot of the ball should be. Yes.
No more joking about shot spot. We have the technology to know factually what is and is not a strike, and we refuse to use it. And even when it gets integrated into the major leagues, it's going to be a challenge system. Even though we could get every call right, we choose not to. Why? You tell me why we choose not to get every call right and make it make sense, because it doesn't. And I would say it's the strength of the Major League Baseball umpires union that has a lot to do with it.
I think they worry, too, about the optics. I think that they think it'll look weird. And your retort would be, oh, no, there's going to be umpires on the field. They're just getting a signal for the call. Yeah.
Home plate umpire still has a lot of responsibilities that have nothing to do with calling balls and strikes. You're going to need 4 on the field at all times, no matter what.
I have a bigger question for you because I'm curious to see where you stand on this. And let's have some fun with this one. So anyhow, for those that missed it, go find it. Cora got ejected as well as Walker Buehler. I think the bench coach did too. I mean, it was a mess. Arguing about the strike zone.
It was a personal F-bomb too. That was personal. Oh, not all F-bombs are the same.
That was a good one.
There's some that are in passing. Yeah.
Yeah, he pointed right at him and gave him the FU as he walked off the field. He knew. Yeah, I'm going to get my money's worth, right? I mean, if you're going to eject me, I'm going to say it now.
Shoot, we had 3 days in a row. Brian O'Nora the day before was bad, and then the guy on Sunday Night Baseball, he took off his mask and looked in the dugout. Stop it.
you can take off your mask to say something. Sometimes they do that, but the glare, come on, man. Just walk over to the manager and say, look, man, we're done here. You know as well as I do. You can't be yelling about balls and strikes from the dugout. Next one, you're gone. And calmly go back to your job. It's not that hard. But anyhow, I do want to say this. I thought this was curious. And I always find these kinds of things curious, too. And my wife gets mad at me when I have this take, Tom. So I want to hear what you think about it. If you have a job that is not year-round, okay.
Am I getting in the middle of a...
No.
Okay.
No. If you have a job that's not... Tom knows my wife works in the school system.
That's,
so
yeah, man.
No,
I'm like, don't bring me into this. Don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
If you have a job that is not year-round, so maybe you work 8 months out of the year for your job, like a school teacher has the summer off, okay? They have summers off. Doesn't it stand to reason that if you have major life events or things like that, that you would then schedule for those things to happen in the months that you're not working so that you don't have to take work off?
Okay. You're looking at people's PTO?
I am.
Okay. Yeah.
Alex Cora. Now, this is interesting. This isn't quite that, but Alex Cora missed a game for the Red Sox to attend his daughter's graduation. All right. On the surface, people would go, okay, well, it's his daughter's college graduation. I mean, you're going to attend your child's graduation from college. It's a big deal. Agreed. Except for I did some reading. It was an afternoon graduation, and she graduated from Boston College 3 miles from Fenway. They played at night.
Oh, okay.
What are we doing out here? And he's
celebrating his daughter's achievement.
No, man. He's catching heat in Boston, and I wouldn't, you're not going to lose your job over it. And listen, I would do it. I would tell him, I'm paying you millions in season. In season, you have to be, on the bench. If there's a death or something like that, I understand. And it's the off season, and you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. I got no problem. See, you thought I was going to go the angle of like making fun of teachers for having, no, take all the time you need in the summer, do whatever you got to do. You have it off. We take long stretches of time off in the summer when we can.
Yes.
We'll take a week off.
And David's complaining about that in the chat right
Well,
now.
I don't care about that, David. I'll do whatever the hell I want. But the point is, because it's my contract, I can take 3 weeks off in the summer if I effing feel like it. But here's the point. When you're working, you're working. Like, I can't take 3 weeks off or a week off in the middle of football season. And so I don't. Like, Alex, you got to show up for work, my man. You're being paid more than $1 million a year.
Well, hang on a minute. Now, if the National Honor Society quarterly dinner happened to be on the day that we play Alabama and you had to do a pregame show, I'd understand if you took the day because, it's the National Honor Society quarterly dinner.
Man, I'm just saying, look, I thought it was strange. When he caught heat, he was indignant about it. I'm like, well, Alex, buddy, go to your daughter's graduation. You should. She's only going to graduate college one time. So go do that. That's great. But it was like at noon. You have a night game. You got all the celebrating out of the way by 3 p.m. It's 3 miles from the stadium. We can be at our job. If you came to me and I was the president of baseball operations to ask my opinion, what do you think? You think I could take the day? What are you talking about, Alex? No, you can't take the day. We have a game. We have a baseball game tonight. You're the manager of the baseball team. You're going to be there. I need you there. Why we're paying you. If it were a night graduation and he came to me, then we'd have a different discussion.
Interesting. I don't know how I feel about that one. I know that's not good for radio. I'm not sure how I feel about that particular situation because they might have had their scouting report all set. And he said, all right, we're all set to go. I've created all redundancies for redundancies.
I think you would say go to work, man.
If there's a buffer, like you're talking about.
Man,
if it's a 4 o'clock ceremony, no, because by the time everybody speaks and photos and all that stuff, you're already at first pitch. If it's noon, okay.
They're usually in the morning or around lunchtime. They're not normally at night.
One of the problems is you could blame the Red Sox. Why are these 6:45 first pitches or 6:40 first pitch? That's a big half an hour to shave off if I've got an afternoon graduation. Make the start time 7:40 that particular night. I'm good to go.
I'd tell him to get his ass to work. That's what I
Clearly.
I just don't even, it's not even a thing. You got to go to work. I remember one time we fired a guy at Clear Channel, and Matt and I were talking about it. And I was like, well, you don't have to find reasons here. He misses work. And he goes, well, that's true. I'm like, yeah, he just misses work.
Oh, it was on the sports side?
Yeah, you get fired for missing work.
I wonder who that was.
You don't know him. But
It was before my time?
Yeah, you got to show up for work. I said, that's all you got to tell him, because Matt was fretting about what he was going to say. I was like, tell him, hey, man, I hate to do it, but we're going to go ahead and fire you today. Why? Oh, well, you've missed 3 times in the last 2 weeks, and we need you to show up for work.
That must have been a very different Millar. I've never known him to be fretting over delivering a message bluntly at somebody. He knows how to do that quite well. Yeah. Maybe it was a learned skill.
Yeah, it took time, right? I don't know. That was weird, and I saw that he was, and in Boston, it's just like in New York. WFAN would talk about this for an hour if it was one of their guys.
Yes, they would.
And the New Yorkers would be calling in about their job and how it is that they can't miss even when they have the flu and everything else.
64384 Sports. 64384 Sports. Give us your thoughts. Give us your thoughts.
That's what that would be, and it's the same in Boston. That's what they're doing. My job. My job, you can't miss. They would have never given me the time off. And you're like, oh, not everybody's job's the same.
Yeah. Somebody said in the chat is, Bat Boy? I'm like, well, what does he get paid versus Cora? Kind of need Cora.
Yeah. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with.
Searching for the best place to spend time outdoors this spring and summer? The Golf Club at Summerbrook has all the amenities you and your family need. Purchase a family pool membership this season and enjoy the most luxurious and relaxing resort-style pool in the entire city. With a 6,000 square foot deck, covered pavilion, and poolside drink and food service, you'll feel like you're on vacation. Reserve your pool membership today. Visit the Golf Club at Summerbrook.com or call 850-894-GOLF. That's 894-GOLF.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our used showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
No matter what printing you need to keep your business running, we can help. Hi, Jason Butera here for The Printery. Reduce your stress and give us a call. From new product brochures or posters to yard signs, postcards, even letterhead and envelopes. The Printery sets the standard in personalized service with outstanding results. We offer full-service graphic design and free pickup and delivery. The Printery, home of 36-cent color copies. If it's ink on paper, we've got it covered. Call us today, 877-6418. 877-6418.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Crescent, Tallahassee. Your sports flash update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
Florida basketball has picked up a commitment from Arkansas transfer Boogie Fland. He's originally from the Bronx, New York. He withdrew from the NBA draft and went into the transfer portal instead, and now he is set to head to Florida during his freshman year. He averaged 13.5 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1.5 steals per game. Speaking of Florida athletics, Florida baseball, they got a win against South Carolina yesterday in the first round of the SEC tournament. They are set to match up against Ole Miss today. Florida State baseball, they are the 2 seed in the ACC championship as they got a double bye in the tournament, and they're not going to play their first game until Friday. This Sports Flash is presented by Progressive. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo insurance, and save with Progressive. I'm Matt Pauley on Real Talk 93.3.
Barbecue season is back.
Hey, it's Ellen. And this is Sarah Beth. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that zesty barbecue sauce. I love that it was a little sweet, a little tangy, and with the mac and cheese. I feel like I tasted the brown sugar bacon first. It was the absolute best combination. Pro tip, 3 sandwiches are always better than 1.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and a Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Do you own a small business? Let me guess. You started your business so you could get bogged down with payroll and bookkeeping, office tasks, and other paperwork, right? Probably not. I'm Craig Collins with Collins Income Tax Solutions, allowing to help you get out from behind your desk and get back to doing what you love. For any of your payroll, bookkeeping, or other business services, give me a call today and allow me to take it off your plate. You can find my contact information online at collinsincometaxsolutionsllc.com.
Hey man, have you heard this now? The Cowboy Jewelry is the best in town. So rings, diamonds, earrings, bracelets, and more. And Cowboy Jewelry,
When was the last time you randomly did something nice for someone that means a lot to you? Now, I say this every day at the end of my show for everybody to be a better person today than you were yesterday. Well, one way to do that is to drop into Pentalta and get a gift for someone who deserves it. It'll brighten their day, their week, maybe even their year. You don't have to wait for a holiday or special occasion, so don't wait to go check out a true local gem, serving Tallahassee since 1988. Now, sing along with me, and I'll see you at Pentalta.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50. For those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
live in an era, Tom, where Flavor Flav is in commercials, and that is a good thing. It warms my heart. I would have not guessed that Flavor Flav would still be amongst us, let alone in commercials, at this stage of his life.
Perhaps he will serve as the Keith Richards of his genre.
Of his genre?
Could be.
I, during the break, was reading CBS Sportsline's post spring football ACC rankings.
Oh, list season in full effect.
And where do you think we were listed?
Oh my. How many teams do we have in the conference again? 17?
We have
15?
17 teams
17.
in the ACC, sir, of which we finished 17th last year.
That's right. I heard you mention that to Ira yesterday.
I did. Yeah.
It was a tough day in my office.
Mm-hmm.
7th.
Well done, sir. 7th.
All right.
Okay. So some of this is easy, but let's hear the 6 that you have ranked ahead of us.
Miami, Clemson. Got to think here. Louisville, SMU. Am I 4 for 4 so far?
4 for 4 so far.
I don't know who the hell's I'd have above us at that point.
Well, all of them beat us.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah. So not Cal is what you're saying.
Not Cal.
I don't even remember who the hell we played.
Well, Georgia Tech for starters.
Oh, they got Haynes King back, so fine. Yes, they should be ahead of us.
All right, there's 5. Now give me one more that's ahead of us.
North Carolina?
No, Duke is.
Oh, that makes sense. Sadly, that I said that is sad.
They got that Tulane transfer at quarterback.
Yeah, Mensa.
Yeah, he's good. So anyhow, Florida State is at plus 3,000 to win the ACC.
30-1. All right.
During the break, I went ahead and bet it. I don't think we're going to win the ACC, but man, at 30-1, all right. Virginia Tech is behind us. North Carolina, NC State, Pitt, Syracuse, BC, Cal, Virginia, Wake, Stanford, all the teams behind Florida State. According to CBS, and I think that was Chip Patterson. I'm looking through these and I'm thinking, okay, this is how you end up angry again. This is how it happens, because I don't have a problem with the list per se. You're going to disagree. Chip does a good job. He works hard. The thing I would say is I would say, well, Chip, I actually think Florida State will be, it could be mentioned ahead of Duke, but okay, I got you. It's not that big a deal. Same for Georgia Tech, but you could argue for Georgia Tech. I got you. What I don't like is not the list, but rather the fairness of being 7th as a ranking on that list agitates me.
Yeah.
Like it's not unreasonable. It should be. It ought to be a thing that if you see it and read it, you go, what kind of crack is he smoking that Florida State would be 7th in the ACC? That's how you ought to be viewing any list that has Florida State 7th, and this also ran of a conference.
In football. Yeah, and when you said Georgia Tech, I go, oh, yeah, well, Haynes King's back. And when you said Duke, I go, no, yeah, that's true. They did get a good quarterback, and they play good defense. I stood down. Yes. I didn't have any defiance in my spirit.
It hurts my soul to do that.
Yeah.
And this is why you continue to be agitated and in some cases get even angrier about what happened a year ago, because things like this list comes out this week. You pick it up, you read it, you go, seems about right. Who can I say on that list that we're definitively better than? You couldn't. I mean, in theory, you could say everybody's better than we are on this list. If you wanted to rank, I don't know, Virginia and Cal and Wake ahead of us, you probably could and just say, well, look, guys, you finished dead ass last year.
Yes, if you wanted to argue it from a different place, you could. I do think I'm engaging in this. Wow, this hurts. I do think that because Wake's coach quit on the program, you could probably safely bet that we're going to be okay. We're ahead of Cal because by hook or crook, we did, and missed field goals, we did beat them. The Virginia Tech game will be interesting, though, for the middleweight championship of the ACC.
Oh, man.
Because they got their quarterback back. Now, they lost a lot of other players, but thankfully Tootin's gone, right? So,
yeah, the Wake Forest situation's a unique one in the post-Dave Clawson era. Do they just return to being what they've always been or mostly been?
Right. I believe his quote was, while I understand this is the fastest growing football fan base in America, unfortunately, the speed with which we are growing is not fast enough.
Yeah, and we don't have the money to spend on the players, so we're done here. We shall see. You could get, if you wanted Wake, plus 50,000. If you're doing it from a betting standpoint, I would tell you that I would make a go of it by sprinkling pizza money on Florida State at plus 3,000. And if I wanted to take a long shot, but because I believe they're extremely well coached, I would do it with Syracuse at plus 7,000.
I would if I knew who their quarterback was going to be. Obviously, they wouldn't be plus 7,000 if McCord was back.
It's the Notre Dame quarterback, Steve Angeli or whatever his name is.
Oh, Angeli played in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. He's
okay.
He's the starting quarterback for Syracuse this year.
Okay.
So they're well coached and they play hard.
For our purposes,
it's pizza money. It's all
30-1. I mean, you split the Miami and the Clemson game. You go 1-1 in those two.
Yeah,
You've got a real shot to just be there. And if you're there,
I like our 30-1 chance of winning the conference more than I like Duke's 25-1. I do. I feel good about that. I would bet it.
You did.
I did bet it, and I would bet. But Drones they've got Kyron Drones back. Virginia Tech does. I would maybe sprinkle a little money on them too. Just
apparently he's about all they got back. Now, I don't work in Blacksburg, but it sounded like they were gutted beyond him.
Our peppy individual that does, we might have to ask at the ACC kickoff.
I live my dream.
Clemson's plus money to win the ACC. You should bet it.
They are?
Plus 155.
Right,
but they are plus money to win the conference, and Miami's plus 300 to win the conference.
I think that's poor value.
I would bet the Clemson one.
I think Miami's more like a 6-1 chance. They're changing head coaches in the summer that we don't know about. Otherwise, I think they're a worse version of what they were last year. And they should have lost 5 last year.
Well, they can't be as bad on defense as they were, right? They can't. That was a dreadful defense. I don't know. Listen, their whole season's going to come down not to that defense, which was terrible, but whether Carson Beck is healthy and can resemble the kid that routinely his first year at Georgia looked like he was going straight to the league and has subsequently been a mystery. It's a great game followed by a what the hell kind of dud was that game, followed by is he hurt? Followed by he is, followed by, well, let's see if he's healthy again, because he had the NFL in his sights and looked like a guy that had all the throws and then started playing wildly inconsistent before the injury.
For them, I know they've been recruiting, but for them to replicate what they had at the skill positions offensively year over year is going to be very, very difficult because of what Cam was, because of the running back transfer they had in Restrepo, 85th year. That's going to be very difficult for them to be as potent offensively as they were last year.
You ain't kidding about Restrepo. I mean, God, dog, did he play at Miami for 25 years.
And the tight end who is 42 years old in his 9th year.
It's like the great Carlos Huerta, who used to kick for Miami for 35 seasons. How many times I heard the PA guy kicking for Miami, Carlos Huerta. What? He's 50 years old. How is that even possible?
Is that his brother Carlos? Did his dad do the George Foreman thing?
What are we doing here? What are we doing here? It's crazy.
I do like the 30-1 though. That puts some pep in my step. Really? 1 in 30 chance.
1 in 30 chance. So you're going to bet it during the break. Let's go.
I will.
I sprinkled it out there. It's list season. Might as well talk about it and look at it. And I did. And again, people ask us a lot like, hey, it seems very genuine regarding your frustration with what happened last year, and it seems elevated at times as opposed to when it was actually happening. And I say, yeah, because you've had time to further digest it and really let it wash over you. And there's nothing else happening that can distract us. And we've had nothing else happen that could distract us because we didn't have a spring game. This is not a complaint. We did not have access to practice either. So there was no other competing story to get your mind off of 2-10. Now list season arrives in late May, and you look at those lists and you realize that you're way down that list of teams that I guess many people around the country who cover the sport think can actually win the conference. And that doesn't mean you can't, but it is aggravating when you come to the realization that that's a fair placement in this league for Florida State on any list. And that is really not going to get it done, and we all know that. So we have to see, again, a major comeuppance this year.
Well, that's where you'd say to everybody, including yourself, brace yourself, because there's only going to be more of that for the next 3 months. A lot more of it. Or silo yourself so you don't have to experience that for 3 more months. But look, it's 100 days plus until we kick off. People are going to be talking about Florida State in that weight class, and it ain't the heavyweight one.
It's 93 days until the start of college football. Well, 93 days and 20-something hours. Just so you know, when we come back from the long weekend, we'll be in the 80s.
That Everett Dawkins, 93?
Oh.
I think so. There aren't many 93s out there that are top of mind.
Mm-mm.
I think Dawkins was.
Mm-mm. Yeah, you're right. Haven't been many.
Dawkins and McLeod. Ant McLeod. He's
Good
a
old
forgotten
Ant
interior
McLeod,
D-line.
man. I like me some Ant McLeod. That's a good call on your part. Yeah, he was a good player. As we round out the segment, though, I should do this and just a hearty norm for George Wendt, who passed yesterday. Tom, did you note that George Wendt died 32 years to the day that the Cheers finale aired?
Oh, wow.
32 years to the day.
What's interesting about that is I know exactly where I was when the Cheers finale dropped, because that is 93, would have been 1993.
Mm-hmm.
I was sneaking down to get an extra glass of soda from the refrigerator as my parents were watching the Cheers finale, and I got yelled at as a 6-year-old going on 7. I remember that.
80.4 million people tuned in to watch the final episode of Cheers. And to this day, it is the second most watched sitcom finale ever. MASH was number 1. I remember that. That's before your time.
But that was always the gold standard. Even in college, I remember getting taught about the ratings for that specific show relative to Super Bowls, relative to all other TV events in history.
The MASH theme, much like the theme song to Cheers, is etched in a lot of people's brains. They can, the second they hear the choppers and the second they hear the, it takes you back to that stage of life. So does the Cheers song.
Yeah, well, that was your man cave theme in the infancy of Warchant video.
Yeah,
that was the man cave theme.
Yeah, everybody knows your name. Everybody sings that line. But of course, that would not have been possible. The familial sense of that show without Norm's character leading the way, and that is crazy. It's a reflection of the difference between consumption of entertainment in this era and that era is notable, because 80.4 million people had a shared experience involving a television show. Does not happen, does not even come close to happening anywhere else anymore, save for live sports. That is it. That is the only time that collective shared water cooler experience can be talked about, is a live sporting event, because no show does 80.4 million.
That is why we are arguing over our existence and where we should be in the existence of college football right now, because the shared experience is still a thing. People haven't gotten bored of it yet.
Oh, it's a great thing, and we seek it out in a time where you can't find it. Like, this is why I hate when they do the mass dump of a show. So when they take here you go, here's all 16 episodes on Amazon, binge as you wish. I don't love it, and I also do like it. So it's one of those things where I say,
especially if you're sick, it's great.
Yeah, it's great if you're ill and you never caught up on a show, and you say, oh, I'm going to sit down and watch whatever it was that you didn't watch when it ran. You could say, I never saw Breaking Bad. Now I'm going to go back and watch all of Breaking Bad. Yeah, I get it. It has its uses. It's just that because everything is so spread out over so many platforms and streaming devices that nobody is watching the same show. I mean, like the last one of those that existed, that exists, in terms of big numbers, was the Dragon Show.
Yeah,
on
Game of
HBO.
Thrones.
Yeah, that's the last one.
And for many seasons, it delivered until the last season. It did not deliver. What do you know? When they ran out of R.R. Martin's material, they didn't know what to do with it.
You like the way I said the Dragon Show?
That's correct. No, they made it hard on us Star Wars nerds this last month because they dropped Andor on Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock. All right, so you got to wait all day for them to drop.
So, by the way, is that a weekly?
It was weekly, but they dropped 3 episodes that were between 45 minutes and an hour at 9 p.m. on a weeknight.
So they're doing this now in entertainment across the board. These different streaming services, they won't drop the entire season.
Right.
They'll give you 2 or 3 at a time.
And then they'll go week for week. But in this instance, I've never seen this before. It was 4 weeks of 3 episode dumps.
Yeah.
And it's on average, it's 2.5 hours. So you're essentially getting a feature film length movie every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Come on, guys.
That's what I'm saying.
Could have been better than 9. Yeah. Can we do 7 p.m. or something here? Let's go.
9. It delivered, though. Oh, my, did it deliver.
So it's like what happens to me now with Monday Night Football. I'm like, I loved growing up watching Monday Night Football, did as an adult, have as an adult, and now I'm old. I'm like, we're going to have to watch Monday Night Football tomorrow morning.
That happens all the time.
I get up at 5 and I'll watch it. Everybody's asleep. It's great.
It's Sunday Night Football, too. It better be good.
If
it's even a shred of mediocre, like it's a good matchup, but it's got just a little bit of mediocre because somebody's injured or something. Like, I'm good.
You're looking for a reason to go to bed.
I am looking for a reason.
Yeah, listen, it's funny. I have rules.
Metcalf won't play tonight. Oh, well, I guess
going
to bed. No DK.
Yeah. By the way, I have rules. I'm sure you do too. Very specific rules involving late night sports viewing. You have to decide when you sit down to watch a baseball game, first pitch, 7 o'clock, let's say, something like that. If they go to extras, am I staying up for extras?
Oh, yeah.
I know before I ever sit down. The answer is always yes, by the way, because I can't watch 9 innings of a tie baseball game. You're like, oh, well, good thing I wasted 2.5 hours going off to bed. No, I'm going to see the end. I'm invested. These days, it's not like it used to be because they give you a damn ghost runner on second, and so it's really hard for a game to go 18 innings. It doesn't happen. But in the old days, that was a hell of a commitment to make. You might be there till 3 in the morning.
It was. I remember a 16-inning affair against the Phillies when I was in college. I brought this up a few times. But the home run call, a walk-off home run, was the best because it was just purely human.
Yeah.
It wasn't about the baseball game
exhausted.
at all. He hits it deep to right. We're going home. What a great call. Because I thought the same thing. I could go to bed. Yay.
I do it with overtime in playoff hockey. Now, obviously, if it's your team, if it's the Lightning, we're staying up watching no matter what. But I love playoff hockey. I watch it. I watched Carolina get housed again because that's what they do.
They're just a worse version of Florida. I don't understand how that line was that line last night. But
well,
okay.
You got plus money for Florida last night. I bet it's the first thing I did when I woke up. I was like, you got to be kidding me. By the way, did you know that Carolina in the conference finals is 0-13? They got swept in their 3 previous appearances, and they just lost last night.
Oh, okay. So
that's a whole bunch of we suck when we get here.
I didn't know that. I did not know that. I didn't even watch it because I know that Florida's a better
That'll
version.
hurt your feelings. I mean, not even competitive.
The NHL's hurting too. You're kidding me. Again? So Tampa's made it 3 years in a row. Then Florida's likely to make it 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And Carolina's their opponent. So is this just the old Southeast Division? Is that just that's what's going to rule the day?
Have you seen these ratings?
Oh, I'm sure they're awful.
Putrid.
Well, and now you got Dallas, Edmonton.
Same as last year.
They are in, shambles, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
This is not the Final Four they signed up for.
It hurts that many of the original,
right?
Franchises are not. Well, yes,
and then you couldn't give us a good Canadian one. You could have given us Vancouver. You give us like Edmonton, Podunk, Edmonton, and you got South.
You mean from the rating standpoint?
Yes. Well, I know people get offended. Well, you're talking about it. Folks, I'm being Gary Bettman for a minute. See, my head's bobbling.
Yeah, Gary's not happy. But they screwed themselves. They're 2 disparate. They're all over the place. You don't even have the time to know where the hell they're going to be. Like, is that ESPN have it, or does TNT have that one? Does TBS have this one, or is this one on? It's stupid.
That I'm okay with. They'd get a better conference final if they seeded 1 through 8. That's their problem.
You and I agree with that.
I bet they're going to fix that this offseason.
Well, I would hope. I'm only lamenting the lack of the shared viewing experience, though. And it was always great. The Sopranos served that very, very well. Sunday nights, America was locked in. And you talked about it on a Monday at work. It was glorious. That was certainly my childhood with shows like St. Elsewhere, MASH, and, of course, Cheers, to whom we say, rest in peace, George Wendt. 32 years to the day that the finale aired, he passes, and by all accounts, in fact, it would be great if any of us were described in this manner. I read several articles today. The words that repeated most notably, kind, impossible not to like, a doting family man, loved, and a beloved confidant to friends everywhere. I was like, good God, that is a descriptor, huh?
That's a goal right there.
That's a good one. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
All right, let's talk. If your grill wobbles when you flip a burger or it needs a good kick just to light it, it's time for a serious upgrade. That's where Hearth and Patio in Tallahassee comes in. They've got gas grills, charcoal grills, smokers, even the fancy ones that make you look like you actually know what you're doing. Whether you're a weekend warrior or a full-blown backyard pitmaster, Hearth and Patio's team will help you find the perfect setup. They actually know grills, like they can tell you which one makes the ribs taste the best. And trust me, there's no better feeling than serving up a plate of those perfectly grilled, amazing ribs while your neighbor stares over the fence with pure jealousy. So stop flipping burgers on that rusted-out dinosaur and call Hearth and Patio today, 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282, or online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Your steaks, your burgers, and honestly, your whole neighborhood will thank you. Hearth and Patio, where your grilling dreams come true.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying, or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 373031.
Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, get eyes on those shimmering new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You got to trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller, Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. It's MillerSeptic.com.
1868, General John Logan calls for a national day of remembrance in honor of those slain on the field of battle. May 30th was chosen as the day when Americans across the nation would gather to offer prayers for the fallen soldiers and their families. 100 years later, Congress declared the last Monday in May to be the nation's official Memorial Day, when we join together in remembering first responders and all those in military service who have given their lives in defense of freedom and kept us from harm's way. This Memorial Day tribute is brought to you by Wood & Glass on South Monroe, serving Tallahassee homes and businesses since 1945. Bath enclosures, storefront glass, mirrors, and window glass replacement. woodandglass.com or call 222-5781. And by ACL Home Inspections, providing residential and light commercial property inspections, 4-point inspections, and wind mitigation reports since 2016 at aclhomeinspections.com or call 312-8919.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50. For those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day, take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Would we be thinking 9+ wins if 2023 Jordan Travis was starting instead of Tommy? I'm trying to think.
It's a fascinating question.
It's a good question.
Because I think I
From
would be if it was
optimist
2022. If it was 2022 Jordan Travis, I'd be thinking 9+ wins.
The 2022 Jordan Travis was the better Jordan Travis.
For this roster,
roster.
Yeah, because you're going to need the quarterback to run around.
Correct.
And he did not in 23.
No, it was aggravating. It caused us to talk about it frequently.
Well, and his downfield accuracy was way worse in 23 than 22.
That offense was not great with him in it in 2023. It was aggravating. We were beginning to criticize Mike at that time for play calling issues and predictable game-to-game formulaic where's the imagination conversation that we were having over and over again, because the original version of Mike came in here coaching a way that suggested he understood they were outmanned and was very creative. And so much so, he was lauded nationally as one of the better play callers in the game. And that's why when you and I started talking early in the season in 2023, despite the successes that happened, we were frustrated by the lack of innovation.
Yeah, that was your Southern Miss game with the failed plays, success rate, failure on 50-some plays out of whatever, 90 we ran. You pointed that out that Monday. That was Jordan did make a few plays that night where he ran around because it was inferior athletes, inferior team that they were taking on, but he drew up in the dirt probably 2 or 3 touchdowns that particular night. But on first and second down, we failed like 51 times. It was some absurd number like that.
The part that got aggravating was the default was to throw it up. And we saw the frustrated look on Mike's face in so many games. And it was weird to me. I wondered what that stemmed from and where the originality had gone. Because he was such a innovative coach for early in his time here. And then it just really kind of, I don't know if it's the offensive line in retrospect, Tom, but certainly it was also, Dillingham left, and Dillingham did a good job too. I do think that they had a desire for Jordan to prove himself even further as a passer. And I think Jordan probably had that as well.
Yes, I think so.
I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Well, they thought that they could win in multiple ways, and largely they were right. It's just they didn't win by the margins that we expected them to and with the explosiveness that we expected to see as well. But their thinking clearly was, why would we put his body at risk when we can win in other ways?
Because we couldn't run the ball.
And they thought they were going to be able to run the ball, and they were wrong about that. Same as last year. They thought they were going to be able to run the ball, and they were dead wrong about it.
I think when you have a guy who is that dynamic as a runner, that has to be featured. It has to be a big part of what you're doing. I would have never agreed to the latter. I would not have said, yeah, okay, that's fine. Well, yeah, I would have said, hey, we have to put you at risk. I mean, this is a big element of what we do. Not unlike what Clemson did all those years with very mobile quarterbacks. It was a big part of what they did, and you had to account for it. It made playing defense against those folks maddening.
Yeah, again, just talking about playing style, honestly, I haven't ever looked at the numbers comparison other than the relative downfield shots and accuracy of Jordan Travis from 22 to 23. But just remember back to those games, even though we suffered 3 setbacks, the way he used his legs, and he got hurt for it. The one game on the road at Louisville. He got hurt in that game. And there were moments also where he was uneven emotionally. NC State was a night where he was furious with the players around him on the road at NC State. And he ended up being right, because if we could catch a ball on a 4th down early in that game, I don't think we lose.
Yeah.
But the way he was used and the tools that he showed week in, week out in 2022 would fit this offense to a T. And I bet, and I would bet on the Hard Rock app that Florida State would win 9 games this year if you had that dude. What we're hoping for is Tommy elevates to that level or something close to it, maybe stronger on the ground and closer with arm stuff and completion percentage and yards per attempt and efficiency and all that.
It was that year that we watched as, Florida State got the win against Boston College 31-29 in September of that year. That was the scare. That was the, oh my goodness. And that was when Castellanos did crazy things in the second half running around. And it's funny because I always forget right after that, we beat Clemson in overtime. That was the game. But I use that as the line of demarcation where the offense started to be inconsistent. They had a great first half against Virginia Tech after the Clemson game. The second half was all Virginia Tech. We won the game. We had a big lead. There was no way they were going to come back.
Return in that one.
Yeah, we won 39-17. We blew Syracuse's doors off. That was the end of the run for Syracuse. But it was just kind of frustrating. There were elements of what was happening with our offense that was frustrating. The Pitt game.
You didn't win Clemson because of your offense.
No, at all.
That was,
a great second quarter by Jordan Travis, one of the great second quarters ever, and we had to have it because if you don't score there late like he did, we're probably not in that game to win it.
No, I think the number one offensive play for me in the second half, offensive, was probably the non-call PI. Was it Johnny down the field or Keon? We had a shot down the field. It was open. They tugged an arm, and it was after the missed field goal. This is we should have won it in regulation. We should have gotten a call.
Right.
But I'm looking at a penalty or a non-call rather than offensive excellence. Now, Jordan, that second quarter was unbelievable, and the throw in overtime was right on point to Keon.
Well, they took advantage of a kid who'd just been subbed in, and Keon's a bully.
Correct.
In a good way. That's a compliment.
And the throw had to be there, and it was. But, we took it felt like 12 of those shots, and we came home with the one that mattered. But that wasn't offense leading the way like when we beat LSU earlier in 2023. Offense led the way that night.
Oh, it was awesome. Yeah, offense was awesome that night. And by the way, that game, if you're going to look at the team stats for the overtime win over Clemson, we had barely over 300 total yards. We ran the ball, Tom, for 22 yards. We could not run the ball to save our life. And that was when, again, how many times have we had the conversation about this? And this has to stop. It really does. Every time we get done with a game against Clemson, I'm left speechless by the fact that their linebackers are worlds better than anything we've fielded in ages at linebacker. It happens all the time. You just get done, you're like, well, not just one guy out there. All three of those linebackers out here today are better than anything we've got.
Well, that's across 3 head coaches and multiple coordinators. It's crazy.
That's why I'm, I guess, holding my breath about the 5-star linebacker we're recruiting right now. But when I see that Texas is also recruiting him and so is Ohio State, I think, don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath, Jeff. You ain't getting them. It's cool to be on the list, I suppose. But do you buy it? Do you believe it? Yeah, he's on the list, but do you think we're actually going to get that kid?
I think we would spend to an uncomfortable place to go get that kid. But those schools might just say, well, whatever it is, bump it up 10%. And we lose. But I think we would go this far in this recruiting process with this particular. You know what you're doing.
Xavier Griffin is the kid we're talking about, so that you and I are on the same page here.
You're swimming in a humongous pond here. You don't get to this point to lock down an official visit, which is the last of his 4 that he has on the books as of last I checked. You don't get to this point unless you are fully committed to spending a crap ton of money on the player.
The teams that Florida State is competing with for the services of Xavier Griffin, who is 6'3", 200-plus pounds, and every bit a star. Number 1 linebacker in the country, number 1 rated linebacker in the country, number 1 rated player in his state, top 10 national recruit. So he's a top 10 national recruit. So this is who he is. We're competing with, as you guessed it, Ohio State, Texas, and Alabama. Some people have been critical of Mike for these kinds of recruiting battles because they would suggest you are wasting your time. You're not actually in the mix. We could be using the manpower and the money elsewhere to get somebody that you have a shot of actually signing. and not wasting your time with Xavier Griffin. I don't like to go about that. I don't usually agree with that criticism. At some point, you've got to crack through. You've got to find a way to get one of these kids.
If the kid's from Birmingham or he's from New Orleans, or if he's from a different state, I would tend to agree with that. But this is Gainesville, Georgia.
Correct.
You've got a better crack regionally with this one. He was here in the spring and he wants to come back. This one feels like you have a legitimate chance. I'm not saying they're going to get him. I'm just saying this doesn't feel like wasted resources to go after this player.
It's interesting. We've been burned so many times, it just doesn't feel like we're going to get him. We're also in the mix for a linebacker named Rodney Colton Jr., who most people think is going to go, and he's also from Georgia, but a lot of people think he's going to go to Tennessee and that he's committed to Tennessee, and he's going to be unwavering with that. But we have a chance, I suppose, to win over his services. He's the number 15th ranked linebacker in the country, depending on where you look. But you're talking about 6'1", 225, and can go. We got to start getting this caliber of player.
Yeah, your sales pitch is very simple in both these cases. You've got a new scheme that features linebackers.
Yes.
You've got playing time galore. And finally, you got pesos. We're giving you money. Lots of it. And we hit the guys' numbers in the previous window off of 2 and 10 without the new coaches being able to go on the trail and recruit. That's the thing that gives me hope on this front. Is they have demonstrated with top-flight blue-chip players that they can spend to a level to flip them from an SEC program with a 2 and 10 record. So you do have the resources to get some kids to say yes that are 4 stars or 5 stars. So that's why I think they're in it.
Offensive lineman out of Clearwater that you could try to bring in as well. That would be a big boost. His name is Samuel Rosenbro, I think it is. Rosebro.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
He's a little undersized. He's a tackle. Definitely a tackle.
He's 6'5", long.
The weight is a little lean. There's another kid from Bradenton, I think.
An offensive lineman?
Yeah. He's like 6'7", 330. He's huge. And he's another 4-star, high 4-star.
I look at, these positions where we've failed miserably. I mean, the biggest glaring problem we have is, again, you're going to have to be able to start to find some traction with some of these defensive linemen. And we got no traction with any of these guys, and it's frustrating. Kendall Gravel, is that the kid's name I read this morning? Any chance that we don't have, from what I can tell, what I pull up, and again, not a recruit, Nick, I always defer to our recruiting guys here. There are a lot of guys in the business. That's what they do, and I defer to them. But when I compile the lists based on what everybody in this field is doing, and then I go look and see how serious a contender we are with certain key positions, it's a bit disconcerting on the defensive line.
Oh, big time.
I mean,
that's
what is it you say you do here?
Well, you've got subtweeting going on with the position coach and the fan base. We're not in a great place right now. Pick a side is, I think, what the tweet was last week. Like, man, come on. I get it. Nobody likes to be criticized.
I wouldn't allow for it if I was the head coach.
There was a tweet the week before that got pulled down immediately.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I wouldn't allow for it. We're not having it. You're not going to go engage with the fans on social media. It's ridiculous.
And you also have to understand the reason you're here in the first place is because of abject failure before you got here. That's why you're in Tallahassee. So people are going to be a little miffed.
They're testy. They're all a little testy.
It's 2 and 10, man.
It's what happens when a fan base has been devastated by their program.
And you know what? It's been called the stew of discontent. Given your nickname, I would think you'd have an affinity for a stew of any kind.
Got me thinking about that place in Dublin. Right around from our hotel.
Oh, I never went there.
It was delicious. Unbelievable.
And you love that family, too.
I did. I wish I knew them personally and hung out with them on a regular basis. They seem to be very jolly people. I went in there every day I was there. So for that week in Dublin, I'm going in here every day.
I'd say every 3 to 4 weeks, I do take a look at fares for next Sunday. I do.
I know.
They got me.
My friend Shannon Young was here in studio today. Got to give him a big hug and say good to see you. Also, good job out there making it happen for people, helping his fellow Noles get the best loan options to buy your new home. That's what he'll do for you. He does it in 7 states now. Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Texas, and the Carolinas. So the relentless, goal-oriented attitude that Shannon has and his dedication to doing the job right and ensuring you the best chance to secure that loan for that dream home, that's what he'll do for you. Loansforknowles.com. That's loansforknowles.com.
Your local news now.
2 men are recovering after being shot during an altercation in Pelham in the early hours of May 11th. The altercation occurred in the parking lot of JD's Sports Bar and Grill and involved multiple firearms. In addition to the 2 men, several cars were struck by bullets. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation is assisting in the investigation. They released further details, adding that the incident occurred at about 2:10 a.m. The GBI also confirmed the ages of the 2 men who were shot. They said a 24-year-old is still hospitalized and in critical condition, and a 42-year-old was treated and has been released. PPD has no suspects named at this time. The GBI added that no arrests have been made. The investigation is active and ongoing. A Bainbridge man, Thomas Hubert Parker Jr., has been arrested after an officer observed him shooting a yellow school zone flashing light from his vehicle. Since his arrest, Parker has posted a $17,100 bond. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Frobley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Chance of thunderstorms this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies expected. Daytime highs approaching 90. Winds out the west, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Chance for scattered thunderstorms tonight. Lows dip down to about 67. Mainly cloudy skies expected. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Tomorrow, high of 91. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 82 degrees.
I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
Do you have spring fever? Your only prescription is the Lawn Johns. Hi, it's Mark from the Lawn Johns. We can make your landscape more appealing by providing you with award-winning lawn care. With 4 levels of service, the Lawn Johns offers you more choices than the rest. More flowers, more mulch, or more pine straw all means that your home or office will be more beautiful than ever. So if you've got spring fever, go to thelawnjohns.com or just look for our big purple truck.
I can have more cowbell.
There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude, I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean, you know.
No, I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Thanks, Hog Watcher. We had a good time that day. One of the best bellying up ever posted. The one in the bar from Dublin, writes Hog Watcher. We're due for another bellying up. We haven't done one in ages.
Is that the last one we did?
It might be. Yeah, we need to do a bellying up.
It feels like, yes, what was the safe term? Chipping the bricks. We're all going through it right now.
Oh, yeah.
That feels like a bellying up would be very good for us.
Well, I think, yes, bellying up is good because we're free from the restraints of the FCC and we can say whatever we want, and we do. But I feel like we've worded the frustrations, sans the curse words, pretty well. It's just that you have a lot of time to consider what happened and the gravity of that. Like, it's still mind-boggling to think that happened.
I think it would be great, though, and we could even put it in the title. This is a safe place to be irrational for just a little bit. Because we also have to choose our words carefully because you want to be fair and down the line.
And it's hard to be fair when you're emotional. Yeah.
But it'd be nice we could just speak as fans for a little bit and say, folks, this is just us helping ourselves therapeutically from what is the worst off season in our lifetimes and hopefully the worst one we'll ever see in our lifetimes.
That's one, I think, probably optimistic outlook is to say that this will never happen again. I lived through the worst of it. We'll never see it again. I wasn't around for the winless season, going all the way back. I wasn't around for that. So this would be something where I say, all right, it's probably the worst it's ever going to be. Modern era, you're going to always have 2 winnable games that are just gifts.
I just feel like I need to drop down with a couple for F's sakes,
Oh, yeah. I do it when I go back and look up something from last year.
I do it at a red light every once in a while when I'm near campus. I'll see a sign for the campus. It'll be nothing to do with football. It'll say, sign your lease today, live in College Town. And I'm like, for F's sake.
I will say this. We're getting a lot more shots of the stadium being posted. Seminole boosters are posting these pictures online with aerial shots of the facelift for Doak. And when I see the stadium, invariably it leads from, oh, that looks okay. We went 2-10 last year. That's how that happens. And obviously that's not their intention, but that's exactly what happens. And there's nothing you can do about that until you play another game.
And it had to be Bama.
I knew, by the way, that this would happen, that we would be very, very close to finishing the construction project on Doak Campbell Stadium, and the whispers would begin, and they have already. And they're just that, these paranoid whispers that it's not going to be ready in time. And it's like clockwork. Anytime you need something or something that's big, that's happening, that's important to the university or to the athletic department, whatever it might be, that the anxiety will breed rumor mongering. Now, I don't know if that's accurate or not, but I've had 5 different people come up to me in the last 10 days echoing a similar thought, which is that, I'm hearing they're kind of panicking a little bit, like it might not be ready. I'm like, what do you mean you're hearing? That's nebulous. Tell me who told you that? Who is in a position of authority that would know, that is telling you, because I would like to know that this thing's not going to be ready.
They are saying.
Yeah, because I have. I've and these are people that I like, and I've said, wait a minute now. And then they quickly go, well, I don't know if it's true. I'm like, well, okay, again, what's the point of that? Now, it would be, yes, if we're going to engage in the hypothetical, it would be disastrous for Florida State not to have that thing ready. But I think there's zero chance. This would be one of those times where you would walk in and go, guys, whatever we got to do. Around the clock, 24 hours a day, people have to be working here to complete the job. If we have to pay double time, then that's what we have to do. It can't happen. It has to be ready to go.
I pulled up a live shot of it because they still have the Earth Cam ready to go. You could tell how much the new bleachers look better than the old bleachers. That's for sure. They're putting in the chair backs, I know, but look to the left near the Champions Club.
Yeah.
Ooh, Raggedy Ann.
Raggedy ass.
Raggedy Ann, you rightfully one up that one. Looks okay. Oh, you can zoom in. Look at that.
I don't know, Tom.
You're a little worried?
I am.
Well, if they're not on the up and up with us, then they're engaging in the big lie, because they're saying that it'll be ready in July so they can have 2 or 3 events to soft launch the thing. So,
well, they need to do that.
But they're saying July, like early August, it's all set. They're not saying it'll be ready the week before the game.
What I was saying when I said, I don't know, Tom, was not in reference to whether or not they'll be done. I assume they're going to be done. It's one of those things. It cannot fail. You have to be done. So if that means you're working nonstop every day, every hour, every moment in time until it is before kickoff, then that's the way it's got to be. But when I look at that picture, I'm not in love with it.
What about it?
It just looks clunky. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to reserve judgment until we walk in and we see the whole deal. Like that is okay.
Looks like they've made some pretty good progress.
Again, I think they're going to be ready, Tom. I'm talking about the design. Do you think the design looks good?
Oh, I don't know until it's done. We've seen enough businesses that our friends have opened, that people have opened, that in the community here, that it looks like hot garbage, and then that's just the scaffolding.
Yeah,
But
and
once
then you
it's all
walk in.
removed, you go, oh, well, I see the vision now. So I'm going to hold off on that one. And I'm usually quick to criticize Guy in this regard. I'm sure the Jumbotron's going to look great, but in this particular instance, we'll see.
Yeah, no, I'm of the belief that there is zero chance that it's not ready. And even though athletic directors and anybody associated with the project are going to always say that it is ready, it will be ready, it's going to be ready on time, they're going to tell you they're ahead of schedule whether they are or they aren't. But even this would be a bit much because, to James' point, Alfred has said this around every turn, every opportunity publicly to speak about the stadium and the progress on the work being done to it. He has added that they're ahead of schedule, that they're very pleased with the progress that they've made, that they are undoubtedly going to be open, in fact, open earlier than they expected. So you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't take it the extra mile if deep down in the back of your head you knew it's going to be close.
That's what I'm saying. That would be engaging in the big lie, and you don't need to do that in this instance because all it needed to be was done by kickoff against Alabama. He says that they're going to have events to soft launch it, and they really need that. I think that's totally necessary to make sure everything head to toe.
Yeah,
is
you want
smooth.
things working swimmingly when you have the amount of people that you've asked for money from and that have had to sacrifice and move seats, and in some cases, really, really have people pissed off. That's it's 100% necessary to make sure it works well.
We want the practice to stick the landing.
Yeah, you can't F this up. You just can't. So I'm sure it'll be fine. Final hour, bonus hour, power hour, whatever the hour is. We'll do it next. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
Craving something different? Discover the bold and surprising flavors of Peru at Café de Martín. From sizzling lomo saltado to savory handmade empanadas, every dish is made with heart, history, and soul. Crafted by classically trained Chef Martín himself. It's not just food. It's a trip to Peru without the plane ticket. Swing by Café de Martín today and taste the tradition. Café de Martín. Authentic Peruvian. Right around the corner.
That chip turned into a crack? No worries. Better call Seminole. We'll fix your glass faster than you can say road trip.
Road trip?
Mobile service, expert installs, and no headaches. Call 850-539-4527, 850-539-4527, or go to SeminoleAutoglass.com. Your glass, your rules, but seriously, better call Seminole.
Seminole Auto Glass. Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
WVFT Gretna, Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas.
AJ Smith-Shawver gets the ball today for the Atlanta Braves. Another 62 favorite against the Washington Nationals, and Trevor Williams plus 136. 8.5 flat the total at Nationals Park. Taj Bradley on the mound for the Tampa Bay Rays, $1.14 dog at Steinbrenner Field against Hunter Brown of the Astros, minus 135. Brown 6-2, a 1.43 ERA for Houston. The total is 9. That number juiced to the under. NASCAR on Sunday. It's the Coca-Cola 600 of the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Kyle Larson, the plus 550 favorite. Pato Award 5-1 to win the Indy 500. $250 bonus, and you open up a GBank Visa signature card. Visa.com/GBank. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Kick off summer with Memorial Day savings at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. Plus, get up to 40% off select major appliances and save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances, $396 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/28. Mulch shopper excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Something amazing is happening here. Scientists are using AI to study how whales talk to each other. CDW experts can give researchers the power to process complex data with HP workstations, advanced by AMD Ryzen Threadripper Pro processors. With easier handling of AI workloads, your organization can bring powerful insights to the surface. Make amazing happen. HP, AMD, and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/HPAMD.
Did you know power surges can put your heating and air conditioning system at risk? E&B offers protection for your HVAC, preventing damage from surges, overvoltage spikes, and other stresses. Call E&B Heating and Air today and ask about power protection for your equipment before it's too late.
Tired of spending money on bug spray and inhaling all those fumes every time you want to go outside? Treat your yard so you can stop spraying your kids.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control has a solution to this persistent problem. Paul's has a program which seeks the grounds, flower bed, and shrubs. Paul's controls pesky mosquitoes year-round, which means you can take back control of your yard. Not only are mosquitoes a physical irritation, they also pose a potential health risk to people and pets. With Paul's targeted techniques, you can rest assured that your yard will be protected and your afternoons will stay fun.
Take back your yard. Don't let mosquitoes interrupt the fun. For more information, go to callpauls.com. For the elimination of termites or any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Pauls. We'll get them all.
Pauls can help eliminate fire ants from your lawn, too. We'll help you take your yard back.
The weather is unpredictable and can cause issues around your home. Weston Trawick provides commercial, residential, and industrial electrical wiring services, yearly inspections on fire alarms, portable generator sales, and so much more. With 24/7 emergency service and repair, Weston Trawick will be your calm in the storm. Give them a call at 514-0003. Weston Trawick. Professional electrical services day or night. Visit online at westontrawick.com.
Injured? Call Basic Brooks and come back stronger. Offices, Tallahassee.
Real Talk fact number 44. Banging your head against the wall for 1 hour burns 150 calories. This is Real Talk 93.3, Tallahassee's Real Talk station. Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I would say this, Tom. I was disappointed and surprised that a proposed ban on the so-called tush push in the NFL did not get the votes necessary at the NFL owners meetings, and most people are shocked. They thought that was going to happen. You need a 24-8 vote for it to happen. It was 22-10. They lose. They got to go back and try it next year.
Oh, no. The majority whip is going to lose his job.
Yeah, I think so. But that's where they're at, and that happened, so they'll continue the rugby play that has no place in football. And they'll allow people to aid and abet and take guys and carry them along, which has always been against the rules. Drives me nuts. It's just stupid. It's just stupid when I see linemen plowing into piles and pushing it 20 yards downfield. I would take people out if we're going to do that. If you're not going to call forward progress stop, then we're taking knees.
Well, but they had an emotional appeal from Kelsey today, who spoke for 45 minutes about how it's not dangerous.
Which is weird because he's also commented before on the danger of the play.
Yep.
So who got to him?
That's old Benjamin.
Who got to him? Because he has come out and talked about the danger of the play. Anyhow, it's going to continue for another year. I would guess for only another year. We began the show with the good news that it certainly seems like the growing momentum and opinion is that, in fact, Game Day will be here for the Florida State-Alabama game. Actually, I would argue, Tom, that it's the best choice ESPN could make for the obvious reason in that Lee Corso will have the opportunity to end his time as a college football analyst and really grandpa of the sport, as we say, right here in good old Tallahassee at his alma mater. That would be awesome. Makes sense. We've suspected that was going to be the case. Brett McMurphy tweeted it earlier today. There have been others to do as much. We speculated, certainly. But what I thought about was how much sense it makes for ESPN above and beyond the Lee Corso part of it. They know they're going to have to come back here at some point. The way you come back here without having to be the subject of ire and hate is by hiding behind Lee Corso. You come back and you make everything about Lee, because even those in the fan base that will never forgive and absolutely hate Kirk Herbstreit for his role in the snub or perceived role in the snub, whatever you want to call it, they do respect and like that he has been a very good person to Lee Corso and has been really the gentle hand guiding Lee throughout these latter years post-stroke of his time on the set of College Game Day. And everybody respects that. We all do. That's just a person being a good human being doing the right thing for another person that we all think very highly of. So you wouldn't get the vitriol that you would ordinarily get if it was some other game in the future. Most people will show restraint, at least this time around, because it will be all about Lee. So that they should do it. That makes sense for them to do.
Yeah, and I think that's the correct thing. You know, whatever you want to call it, a moratorium.
Yeah,
a ceasefire.
Yeah, for now.
You can boo every time he talks. I think that's probably the line that I would draw it up to. Other than that, let's just keep it civil. But you can drown out his analysis with boos every time he speaks if you wish to do something along those lines. Or you can just not go, which was my recommendation for Dublin. Just don't go.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. It was all Georgia Tech fans, which, unfortunately, they had a great time, all Georgia Tech fans that were there in Dublin. that's a different matter. But I would just say in this instance, it is only right. And then the next time they come back, have at it. Have at it and let your voice be heard.
Over time, this too will pass, I have to say, because, Tom, if we're ever in the SEC, there'll be plenty of times that game day is here. Same for if we're in the Big Ten. And they're going to come here, and you want them here because it's really good PR for your program.
Sure, I can't wait to have SEC game day here, too, because it's not the desk with Tebow and Feinbaum.
What a desk.
Oh, my God.
Oh, what an insightful desk.
They would be wise if that day comes and Florida State joins the SEC to immediately hire a former Florida State player to be on the desk for said situations. That would be a wise hire to immediately make.
That show's ridiculous.
My question is, how long would Herbstreit remain on game day? Is he going to be there forevermore? He already is loathing the process of the college football playoff, so much so he doesn't fly up to Bristol anymore. And in the last few years, he's been in his compound in Tennessee doing his analysis of the takes. He hates being on that show for the playoff specifically.
But you see, here's the thing. Look, you're paid millions of dollars. You got to put your big boy pants on and go deal with it. But you should go do that. But I understand where he's coming from with that, though.
There might be fatigue from it all. And Lee's done now. Now it's McAfee doing whatever he does, and he's the bigger star at this point.
Oh, sure.
And the bigger draw. And the guy that ESPN backs more than you, they back him more than they back Herbstreit at this point because of what he can do for them Monday through Friday. So how much longer does Kirk even want to serve on the desk? I mean, it's a great payday, but he's dipping his toes in NFL analysis waters. I don't know.
If I'm him, I would really try to whittle it down to being an analyst for college and pro football games, and I would just do that. I don't know that I would want to, at some point, he's made more money than he could ever spend. I don't know that I would want to do much more of that because of the reasons that you just gave. I mean, they have their stars on that desk now, and they have a Nick Saban how many more analysts do you need? You got Nick. It's pretty good.
Right. You have the clown and you have the sage on the desk, and then you could rotate any other pieces. He's not necessary if he doesn't want to do it. I wonder how many more instances of college game day with Kirk Herbstreit there will be to come to Tallahassee, I guess is my point. Because once coach is gone, I'm sure that's a big part of the fun for him. And I mean that on a human level.
Yeah.
I'm sure doing the job with Lee is one of the principal reasons that Kirk loves that job. So when Lee's gone and you're left with grouchy Nick Saban and clown show Pat McAfee and Desmond, who depends on the week, sometimes is good, sometimes isn't. And then Reese, I don't know.
I felt like Desmond took a step back last year.
He's had ups and downs.
He's had his ups and downs. I thought last year was a down.
He's like our football program. Very streaky.
Yeah. When he's good, you're like, look at that. All right. And then when he's bad, you're like, ugh.
We are a streaky football program.
That's another thing that has to stop. Can we put together some meaty 9-10 win seasons all in a row? Wouldn't that be something? Where it's just the annual expectation? I don't know. It begins this year. It starts with an 8-win season this year, and you continue to grow. There's the thought that, again, the offensive line, I keep coming back to the offensive line because there are elements of this team that are very thin. There are segment groups that aren't as talented as they need to be. But again, if your offensive line is a far cry better than it's been, and we have no reason to believe that it will not be, right? They went in and brought experienced starters who've had success in this league and the SEC into town to start games in a way that they have and proven to be successful previous. So if that group is good or decent, you're going to be a much better football team by definition. You don't even have to be where you need to be from a recruiting standpoint or depth of talent standpoint if your offensive line is going to allow you to run the ball, which is what Gus Malzahn's offense is predicated on, as we well know, and at a pretty high clip. You should be in good shape. Because I would even say that if Castellanos misses time for any reason, if that offensive line's okay, all right, well, Brock Purdy will come in and he'll run the offense. He won't be as dynamic a runner.
Glenn, but yeah.
What did I say?
Purdy.
Oh, I was thinking about the contract.
Rich man.
Yeah.
Chubba would have run the hell out of this offense.
And then he'd get hurt and miss a bunch of time. And
that's probably unnecessary.
But no, yeah, you're right. Glenn would come in and, I mean, he's a decent enough athlete. He could run it. But again, this is all about the offensive line. That is the thing when I get negative, when I'm overly negative, that I do fall back on, because those aren't question marks. Those are real players that have played real snaps in big-time college football and been pretty good to very good.
Very good against outgunned opponents, decent against great opponents, and pretty good against like opponents.
Right.
Which is what we're striving for right now.
Are you slightly better than the average ass group you're facing most Saturdays in the ACC?
The answer is yes.
I think the answer is yes.
The track record. Now, Darius Washington's track record suggested the answer was yes last year. Maurice Smith's track record suggested the answer was yes last year. Richie Leonard's did. And yet, the answer was no for that season with us.
That is still coupled with what happened at center.
Yeah. You had three dudes who should have been, the resume, I'm sure, was on the level with some of the resumes that we've got this year. Not to be negative, it's just saying that it doesn't guarantee. Past results don't guarantee future outcomes. Otherwise, Darius would have been an all-conference performer. I don't know about All-American.
No.
And we've talked about that. Mike won first-team All-America. But he was an All-ACC performer the year before. He's playing the same position. What gives? How did that happen?
These are the mysteries of last year's season that everybody's asked repeatedly. Now, it cost the coach his job. He got fired rightfully, as did others. But those were known commodities. Those were players that had played well. How did they go backwards? Why? Why did they go backwards? I've maintained I think it was due to injury.
Spectacularly backwards.
Oh, yeah. Again, I don't think they were healthy. And because you didn't do a good enough job of preparing their backups or recruiting, you didn't have a depth of talent to turn to when they were regressing or were banged up or whatever it is you want to describe doing their job poorly as. That's fine, but you didn't have it. You didn't have anybody to go to that was ready to play or that was talented enough to overcome their backslide. And you know, that's why you felt a helplessness every week. And then there was some real give up out there as well. So that's a toughie. That's how you get fired, when people stop trying.
Hey, but game day might be back. So there you go.
Yeah. And they're going to block. They're going to block. I don't know if they'll block Alabama. That's the big question. You seem to think so more than I do.
Well, I like the fact that this scheme relies on unblocked defenders more than some others that you're planning for, at least one of them to be unblocked.
Yeah.
So that's nice because they're going to be. They would be even if you didn't plan for somebody to be unblocked. So I like that. Gus will keep you on your heels a little bit. That's the nature of it. It's not only about running the football, it's about keeping you on your heels, which we're going to need people to be on their heels.
My friends at Pitch a Penny doing you right, coming to get your old beat-up tub that needs replacing. They'll haul it away for you, get you a new, better tub from that massive warehouse over there on Greer Street. It is something to behold when you walk inside. Makes you want to get a hot tub, quite frankly. And they'll give you money towards it for your old tub. They make it a lot easier than you realize. They've got all kinds of deals, seemingly year-round, in which you can finance these bad boys for 0%, 1%, 2%. It's a beautiful thing. They make it easy to live in luxury, just like that guy on your screen if you're watching. Love and life, touchdown. Go see them today on Greer Road. Find out for yourself how easy and affordable it really is. Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas. If you're ready to relax, they're ready to show you how.
Is your lunch break feeling a little bland? Escape the ordinary with a visit to Café de Martín. Whether it's a fresh ceviche or a steaming plate of arroz con pollo, our Peruvian flavors turn any lunch hour into a culinary adventure. Fast, flavorful, and always unforgettable. Café de Martín is your new go-to for lunch. Visit the menu online at cafedemartin.com.
I got some pretty spooky news from my Paul's termite and pest control technician the other day. It turns out that I'm sharing my home with Formosan termites. Those little monsters do damage about 4 times faster than the regular termites. Fortunately, Paul's discovered them on a routine general pest service, and they've already turned the Formosans back using an amazing treatment called Centricon.
Paul's was the first to introduce the Centricon termite colony elimination system to North Florida and is the leader in this non-invasive treatment. Instead of dumping gallons and gallons of harsh chemicals into our soil, Centricon uses environmentally sensitive treatments loaded in bait stations. These stations are placed around the home. Termites are present, they feed, and take it back to the colony, which is then destroyed. To learn more about Centricon and a free consultation, go to callpauls.com for the elimination of termite or any other pest.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
I'm ready to relax. So I call Swain, it's Boston, cool in the back. I call Swain, cooling files down. Something I come when I want to.
It's springtime in Tallahassee, and there's nothing better than soaking it all up in your very own hot tub from Swain Pools and Spas. Swain Pools and Spas is the home for caldera and free flow spas in North Florida, and Swain has the right pricing and tub size options to fit any yard and any budget with quick and easy financing options. Swain even has hot tubs that can plug right into your existing electrical outlets, so there's no additional installs needed. Visit SwainPools.com. That's SwainPools.com.
And right next to Swain Pools and Spas is Tallahassee Car Care. Stop in today for everything from an oil change and brake repair and tires to alignments and transmission. Big or small, we do it all. It's Tallahassee Car Care, the only repair shop where you can take a dip while we repair your whip. Tallahassee Car Care, right next to Swain Pools and Spas.
Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Bar-Construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-134. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark-Construction.com.
CCC 1331204.
1868, General John Logan calls for a national day of remembrance in honor of those slain on the field of battle. May 30th was chosen as the day when Americans across the nation would gather to offer prayers for the fallen soldiers and their families. 100 years later, Congress declared the last Monday in May to be the nation's official Memorial Day, when we join together in remembering first responders and all those in military service who have given their lives in defense of freedom and kept us from harm's way. This Memorial Day tribute is brought to you by Wood & Glass on South Monroe, serving Tallahassee homes and businesses since 1945. Bath enclosures, storefront glass, mirrors, and window glass replacement. woodandglass.com or call 222-5781. And by ACL Home Inspections, providing residential and light commercial property inspections, 4-point inspections, and wind mitigation reports since 2016 at aclhomeinspections.com or call 312-8919.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Somebody asked this yesterday. Who do you think is a player that we're not talking about on this roster, Florida State football that is, that has a chance to really surprise, emerge maybe more than anybody would think right now? That's a tough question, isn't it? I thought about it too.
Well, here's a wild card because we didn't see him in spring, but Lavalle, the North Carolina linebacker.
Wouldn't that be great, buddy?
I don't like that's a swing in the dark. I have no idea if it's going to hit anything. I'm sure there's an offensive skill player though that could be somebody that steps up. I mean, we went and got the receiver from North Carolina, so now you're covered 1, 2, 3 with veterans if you want to be. But I mean, come on now. You tell me like BJ Gibson or Laway McCoy or Elijah Moore, like one of those dudes can't be a surprise.
Like, please tell me it's Elijah Moore. I know they love Javon Boggs, by the way.
I feel like he would be less of a surprise than the redshirt freshman would be at this point, right? Because they talked him up a ton.
They did. They really like him. I'm trying to.
Could it be Danzy?
Well, I mean, it'd be a damn shame to waste world-class speed and not get something out of it. I mean, the reason I say please let it be Elijah Moore is he was impressive from the day he stepped foot on campus physically at 6'4" plus and over 200 pounds. It was very clear that it pissed off Mike that he struggled to learn the playbook. I mean, it's animated every time he's talked, but he's had plenty of time.
Is this not an easier playbook?
Well, this one, yeah.
Well, I'm talking about you have another off season. I mean, it started in January.
I think the other thing I would tell you is that I really believe it's going to be eye-opening when we watch Elijah Herring. I think we're going to be like, oh, there it is. That's a high-level linebacker doing his thing out here. We haven't seen this in a while. He's played so much football, and he is a real, I shouldn't say it that way, but legit at 235, 6'2", 6'3", sideline to sideline, he's been a tackling machine in his career. We've been longing.
That wouldn't be a surprise, though. I'm kind of hinging expectations.
Yeah, you're right.
Not on one dude.
Yeah, you're right. It wouldn't be a surprise.
I mean, if you're drawing up us being 8-4, 9-3, he's a big part of it.
Would you say then that it would be an Earl Little Jr.? Would you say then that it would be
I'll tell you what, if it was Conrad Hussey, I'd be stunned.
I know. You would be shocked.
But it
wouldn't.
Athletic profile's there to do it, but why are we?
What about Charles Lester III?
That would be a surprise. Yeah. They went and got Jeremiah Wilson.
They did. I thought that was interesting. That was
it makes you stare off in the distance and go, really?
It does. Listen, when we talk about the defense, I keep thinking about, all right, well, who's, over and over again, when it's described, we talk about the importance of the jack in this defense, and that's going to be Amari, right? In some cases?
It could be. I don't know. I don't know how he's going to align. This is the one thing about not being there. And also, the day that you were there for the scrimmage, they're so offensively limited that you're not really getting.
You couldn't get any idea of what was really what.
I have no idea what we're going to do. Just look at the defensive front. Are we 3 or 4 down linemen? I don't know. He'll do either, and you could make a great case for either being what we use as our base.
So if let's say it's 4 and not a 3-3-5, let's say it's actually 4.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have James Williams at one end.
Yep.
You'd have Daryl Jackson, obviously at nose.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have the McCray kid.
Yeah, or Daniel Lyons.
One of those two.
Yeah.
They'll both rotate. And then Amari Williams is probably the other, we think, is the jack / other end.
Yeah. If it's a 4, yeah, that could very well be.
All right. So
they like some of those guys like McCray. I could line up out there though, and you've got Lyons in the middle. I think it would depend on what the offense is that is coming at you. Like, what are they run heavy? Are they pass heavy? Do you need to be more?
Well, let's say that Alabama is going to line up and test your manhood because that's what they're going to do. And if I'm Alabama, it's the first thing I do is I line up and say, all right. And Deontay McCray, by the way, is 285 pounds.
Right. I think you line him up at end, and I think you put Lyons and Jackson in the middle, and you let Jeremiah Williams be your special player, your twitchy player up front, and you try and set the tone that
James
way.
Williams?
Did I say Amari?
You said Jeremiah.
Oh, good Lord.
I don't know where that came
from. Well, he was a Bullfrog before he was a defensive end in Florida State. I think of Jeremiah Wilson. Yeah, James. Yeah, then you let James Williams be your twitchy player. And then from there, we'll see if they run out 2 or 3 linebackers, probably 3.
Well, we know that Stephon Thompson's one and Elijah Herring is one.
Yeah.
And so, then from there, it's Omar Graham.
Yeah, who apparently
had a good camp, good spring. He did.
Or Juice.
Well, like you brought up the fact that it could be the Lavallee kid who they are very excited about. He just got hurt.
Yeah. 6'1", 228 as a reminder.
But he's a thumper. I think he's bigger than that now. And I would say that, I don't think they've given up on Blake Nicholson.
No, I don't think so either. This defense is so multiple that when you look at the safety position, the linebacker position, the defensive line position, it's not in a neat little puzzle where you can. I think when we do the depth chart exercise or the top 40 exercise,
Soon we're going to be asked to do the top 40.
But Ira does typically the depth charts. Does he need to list 13 players or 13 different positions? Because they could be a 3-3-5, and then you're talking about multiple safety positions instead of multiple D line positions. There's a lot to chew on there.
Offensively, if Ira's going to put together the offensive line, then this is an easy one. You start with Gunnar Hansen at left tackle. Richie Leonard will be at guard. Pettibone will be a center. The Medley kid will be a guard. The tackle will be Micah Pettis, the other tackle.
Right. And then your question is,
where does Otto get in? Does Rizzi get in? Does anybody else get in? Lucas Simmons, those guys, right? That's your depth.
Yep.
Okay. Landon Thomas and Randy Pittman Jr. are the guys you would list at tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your quarterback is Tommy Castellanos. I'm going to guess that Sawchuk ends up being the running back.
Wouldn't know why they brought him in otherwise.
Right. Along with Roy Dow, and then obviously the freshman.
An or for Chroma.
Right.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. So there's that. Your wide receivers, Deuce Robinson, Squirrel White, LaWayne McCoy.
I think that third position will be the North Carolina kid, Gavin Blackwell, or McCoy. Probably so.
I mean, Blackwell has been fairly non-productive in his entire career.
He's not like a sophomore. So
No, I know, but I just all right. Boggs will be on that list.
Will be in the list.
Moore will be on the list.
Danzy will be down in the 2 deep, 2
Yep.
or 3, level 2 or level 3.
Yeah. So that's how the offense would look. We just pretty much named everybody there.
Yeah, the players. In terms of the 11 starters, there's maybe you could work with and call it 12 starters because they'll do 3 receivers. You could work with 14 names, 15 names probably that are going to be comprising the 11.
We didn't touch on the importance of, who are going to be the safeties. Now, Shaheem Brown is. You already know that. But is it KJ Kirkland or Earl Little Jr.?
I think they don't know because they were searching for one.
Yeah.
And they got a young kid instead of a veteran like they were hoping for.
And your starting corners are Lester and Jones.
I think it's Quindarius.
And the kid they brought in.
I think it's Wilson, Quindarius, and Rawls. They loved what Rawls was doing in camp.
Yeah, he had a very good camp.
I just wonder where Edwin Joseph fits into that conversation. It feels like his playing style matches what we want. Maybe he doesn't run the system as smoothly as
I'll give you an off-the-board prediction here it's whatever, but just because I got to see, how when guys throw 98 and it's easy 98, we always are in awe of that? Well, old Jake Weinberg can kick at 65, and it's easy. I mean, he made a kick at the scrimmage I was at that was every bit of 58 yards with a lot of room to spare. I mean, it was up the wall. We were in the indoor practice facility, and he kicked. It was a 58-yard kick, and it was up the wall. It is easy power. Now, he's got to harness it because for every impressive long-distance kick that he made, of which there were several 50-plus yarders right down the heart, there were also some just shanked to all hell 45-yarders that practically went out of the facility. So we got to get him.
Yeah, and I could see where this is also where it's not great that Alabama's your first game because at home you got the nerves that you got to be dealing with as a freshman. Redshirt freshman, albeit.
He's got the leg, buddy.
But I could see it by meaningful game 3, which is Miami. We go, I love the fact that he could kick it 1,000,000 yards, but we can't trust him, so we need to go for it on 4th down. Like I could see that being a reality.
Or he's a secret weapon that when you cross the 50, you're about to come away with points.
Last year, Fitzy was a secret weapon that was so secret we didn't use him.
Because we couldn't move the ball.
We'd get to 55-yard field goal territory. We're like, we're going for it.
Because he knew we weren't going to get stops.
You've got free points here. What do you think the likelihood is that we're going to go 35 more yards? Let's just take the 3.
Let's get these 3 on the board, boys.
Kevin Wynn could be in the rotation immediately at interior
as
defense.
A true freshman defensive tackle. Nose tackle.
Coming out of spring, he's listed at 343.
Well, he's a monster. Does he have his, I know he's strong. Anybody that size and that good at football is strong, but does he have his man strength yet to deal with an Alabama offensive line?
Good question. They loved, they like Diggs at 258. They like McCray at 274.
Diggs is an edge.
But I'm looking at this deal. They're going to be multiple, man.
Yeah,
Like these guys, James is going to be in a place, and Darrell is going to be in a place. I think that third or fourth defensive lineman, they could be different dudes in different situations.
You're probably right. My friends at Tried and True Consulting, waiting on your phone call today. You run a business, you need Tried and True to help you out. They're a point of sale system, payments processing company. They do a lot, obviously. We've talked about the ad boards that they can come and install and make sure that they shine a light all over the city on these ad boards for your business and what it provides. And you walk into one of these restaurants or you walk into a car dealership and you look up at that ad board, hey, there's my business. They're saving you money. They're making you money. And they'll incentivize jumping on board. They are as good as it gets in that business. Give them a call today, 844-463-6653. Tireless workers helping out their fellow Noles. Call Don or Joe or Rusty today, 844-I'm-4-Nole, 844-463-6653.
Your local news now.
A Mitchell County woman was arrested in Grady County after officials claim she intentionally set a restaurant on fire in January. Brandy Henley was taken into custody Friday morning. GCSO said Henley was wanted for first-degree arson in the fire at Kibo's Barbecue and More in Camilla. Deputies received a tip and carried out the search warrant for Henley at a home on Acreage Road, north of Cairo in Grady County. GCSO said Henley is being held pending further legal proceedings. One person was hospitalized after a mobile home went up in flames on Ledger Lane. The incident unfolded at about 10:30 p.m., firefighters arrived on the scene and found heavy flames and smoke coming from the mobile home. Crews began to quickly contain and put out the fire, preventing it from spreading to nearby structures. However, one person was located at the scene and transported to a local hospital due to smoke inhalation. The cause of the fire is under investigation. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
Now, here's your Paul's Termite and Pest Control Tallahassee weather report.
Rain chances return to the forecast today thanks to a front, and then we begin to clear out and are less humid for the end of the week. Highs in the lower 90s with lows in the 60s. Tonight, a 20% chance of showers and storms early, mostly cloudy, low of 66. Thursday, mostly sunny, slight chance of a stray shower, high of 91, low of 65. Friday, sunny with a high of 92. Sunny on Saturday, high of 94. From Real Talk 93.3, this is Danielle Kelly.
For the elimination of termites, pests, and for a greener lawn too, call Paul's. They'll get them all.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
When it comes to preparing for a crisis, it doesn't matter if you're a year early, a month early, or a day early, but you can't be a day late. That's why millions of Americans trust My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest preparedness company. Right now, you can get their 4-week emergency food supply, plus an incredible bonus, 4 free 72-hour food kits. That's an extra 12 days worth of food, absolutely free. This kit provides hearty, delicious meals for 4 weeks with 2,000 plus calories per day, 12 essential vitamins and minerals, and a shelf life of up to 25 years. And for a limited time, they're including 12 additional days of food absolutely free, which means right now is the best time to get prepared. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com today to claim your 4-week food kit, plus an extra 12 days of free food. Offer ends soon. Shop MyPatriotSupply.com today. MyPatriotSupply.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
That's a fun little exercise. You got to get something. Got to get something out of Danzy. Man, is he just lights out fast. Let's go. Get him rolling. I I'm laughing thinking of the debate at linebacker. Man, it'd just be nice to see competent play. Competent play.
At least we know the list of players, and there's about 6 of them that can compete, and that's nice. Just the numbers, you feel safety in numbers there. It might not lead to aptitude. I think it might, though, this year with new instruction and a new scheme. Just the real mind bender is the front. So I went through the names again during the break as we were sitting here on this side of the glass. Lyons and Jackson, definitely. McCray, they like. James Williams, of course. Then there's Diggs, and then there's Kevin Wynn. KJ Sampson, he's got to be in the rotation for interior. He was a decent player last year. The Desir twins.
They love the Desir twins. Get it together, Jeff.
Good size there. They're both 6'5", 260. And then Jason Jenkins at some point in the season. At some point, I didn't say the opener. I said at some point in the season.
I'll believe it when I see it, buddy.
Yeah, that was me shaking my head. I've got other schools that are interested in me too.
Yeah, I'm like, man, we're never going to see him this year.
Right. You may believe that, Malcolm, but my offer is firm at $20,000.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see it, man. I'm frustrated by that. It's a shame too because it's so silly. People getting hurt during a workout, it pisses you off. I don't know why I've always been able to digest injuries better when they happen in a game where you're like, oh, well, they're playing a game. It's a violent game. It happens. Working out. Come on, man. We can't have it. It's so annoying. Injury's injury. I know. But for whatever reason, it bothers me more when it's a workout and not like a game.
Yes. However, get ready for more practice injuries, I would hope, because they're practicing tougher.
Well, yeah, and I said that's the price you pay, and I'm willing to go with it. I like it. I'm fine with that. That's. I will say that there have been coaches over the years that you talk with, or even ones that I've played for, where they really are of the belief. It's very much like the pitching debate, right? Leo Mazzoni used to talk about you got to pitch more, not less, to toughen up and lengthen, and to have the opportunity to go deep into games and not have it come back to bite you that you threw 110 pitches, 115 pitches. That when that's the outlier, you have an opportunity to do more damage. At least so he thought. When that's the norm, obviously your body adjusts. Well, that's the same with getting hit. You really do callous to that. That's I use the boxing analogy all the time. You go to the average person on the street, let a 200-pound man hit him in the face, they're done in a heap. Do that to a boxer, step back, here we go. They're used to getting hit. It begets the ability to get hit. You just keep going. And they hit the game I was at, the scrimmage I was at. They were taking people down to the ground, encouraging that kind of physicality that we've been longing for, as it should be. Let's hope that continues.
And you get to see the fruits of it on the field. It's just they've got to be tougher. I think that's where everybody's mind goes first. Well, I shouldn't say that. That's where most of the fan base who views the game critically should be looking first, in my view, which is how tough are they? Because that's where I'm going. I'm watching that Alabama game, mining for evidence that we are tougher. Yes, both physically and mentally. I got to see it. I got to have that.
Yeah, that's
because if we got dudes jogging in the second or third quarter, I don't know what I'll do, but it won't be pleasant.
I would tell you that that was the goal of spring football. That was what Mike was trying to find out, whether or not they had the requisite toughness in both mentality, but also physically, and weeding people out who didn't. I have no reason to believe that they won't play at a much higher level of toughness and stick their head in there and do things they weren't willing to do a year ago, because I think he's run off most of the people who didn't. So we'll see. Now, it's the classic everybody's got to play until they get hit in the mouth type thing, and we'll see. I mean, if Alabama lines up, because they're going to run downhill, and they're going to see if you're any good. Can you handle it? Can you stop the run?
And I think in this particular case, we spoke about it in the first hour, preparing for this game, calling this game is going to be a little bit different. There's a desperation factor. You are the less talented group, so therefore the game plan might not look the same as it will for, say, Virginia or Wake or Pitt or Virginia Tech, teams that are closer in talent to you than the disparity you're going to face. So like it's going to be hard for me to have drastic takeaways about total team talent and aptitude given the test, but you should be able to, without a doubt, have a takeaway about physicality and mental toughness. That should be on display, no matter what the score is.
I've mentioned before, and I'll say it again, that, and people get mad about this because they don't like the idea. It sounds like acceptance of a loss. If they are all of the things that you're describing, if they are doing the things now that they didn't do a year ago, and they're just not there physically, they're unfortunately just not talented enough. But if you compete and you play hard and for each other and you swarm and all the things that we didn't see a year ago and you lose by 10, I'll live with it. You're a 12.5-point underdog. It's an awful lot to ask them to bounce back from last year's 2-10 and come out and beat Alabama in the opener with a new staff and a lot of new players. Can they compete? Can they be in it? Sure. Yeah, I think that's the expectation. If they win it, I'll find it to be a happy surprise.
Yeah, Hogwatcher put in the chat, and he's nailed it. He said, T. Lizzie, you can go ahead and already name the post-game show. Did we see evidence things have changed regardless of the result or score? That's the betting favorite. I mean, that's the betting favorite of the bulk of what that show is going to be about as we sit here today. And the featured video that spins off of it on Sunday on the channel. Did we see evidence that things are different? That's what, I mean, we're all craving that. So that way you don't get stopped in a Publix the following Monday or Tuesday, and we have to have the same damn conversation again.
It would be calamitous if Florida State comes out and gets blown out. It's the only result you can't have. You can have 31-20 Bama. You can have 34-24 Bama. You can have 28-17 Bama. You can have any of those things, and I don't like losing. I'm not going to walk out of the stadium going, hey, we lost, but boy, did we look better. I mean, I'm not going to be whistling to the car, but I will also not look at a game like that ends with a score similar to that. I won't look at that as a referendum on the rest of the season. I'll say, well, you don't play too many teams that are going to be as talented as Alabama. In fact, the next 2 weeks, you don't play somebody who can beat you. So you're going to win those two games. And then the next big test is, what are you against Virginia on a Friday night? Well, my guess is if you're in that game and you compete at a high level through 4 quarters against Bama, you're going to be favored to go beat Virginia in Charlottesville. And at that point, you're rounding out the month with 3 straight wins. And people will be buoyed.
At that point, you're also hosting Miami at 3-1. And that's where, again, the front-loaded nature of the home schedule is advantageous because you're going to need every intangible you can get. If this, flip it on its head. What if we were playing Saturday, Labor Day weekend in Tuscaloosa? First-year coordinator, and a brand-new roster.
Wouldn't feel good about it.
No.
And we'd be going to that game, and we'd be like,
You would be wincing walking into you're like, oh, all right. Just let's hang in there, everybody.
It would feel a little bit, and it shouldn't, but it would feel a little bit like lambs being led to the slaughter. And it should never feel that way when you're Florida effing State.
Yeah, it would feel unfair. This is an unfair test. We're just getting our crap together. What the hell? But it's at home, so you have that intangible. The players are going to be wowed by the luxury they see behind them on the bench. They're going to look at that crowd. They're going to see the pit of opulence, and they're going to say, wow,
pit of opulence.
We are ready to go. Yes, this is the general seating area for the wealthy.
Pit of opulence.
They've got our back in the pit of opulence. Let's go fight. But then that second critical game is also at home. Imagine if it was the other way, where you had a Friday night against Virginia at home.
Right.
But you're on the road to Tuscaloosa. You're on the road to Miami.
Yeah, you would be.
Good God, that would be problematic.
It would be.
But it's not that way.
It's not that way, Tom. It's not that way. I get giddy thinking about the surprise upset, the talking points around Florida State being the lead story, having knocked off Alabama. Because that's what they'll be. It won't be the winner of the Texas-Ohio State game. They just played in the playoff. Both those teams are good. Somebody's got to win that game. Somebody's got to lose it. Both teams are going to be good the rest of the year, no matter what the result of that game is. Whereas Florida State, very low expectations, 12.5-point underdogs, loser of 10 games a year ago, firing of members of the staff and a coach who enters the season kind of on the hot seat. Let's just say it. And you beat Alabama, you're the lead, buddy. You're the lead of college football.
We are Indirectly, because just when you think Florida State would be focused on, things will be focused on Alabama, and Kalen DeBoer is failing. Nick Saban, your thoughts. Paul Feinbaum, your thoughts. What's wrong with Alabama? That will be the lead, but we'll be attached to it, and you'll see our helmets in some of the clips.
You'll see the garnet and the gold in the victory, and you'll see the renewed expectations. It happens instantaneously. None of us can help it. Even if it is a crazy take, people will be emboldened in a way that allows them to say it straight-faced. They're going to go, well, now I think 10 wins is in order, guys. It sure would be nice for a change.
In a way, you'll get greater benefits from that victory. I'm talking about just national media, what it would do for this town, this program, and all that kind of stuff stands on its own. But you would get more credit for that win as the weeks go on, because you have a free win and a bye and another free win. You go play Friday night against Virginia. As long as you win that game,
all of a sudden you're 4-0 with a win over Alabama.
You've got a month of good pub, and now people are pumping you before it's time to play Miami. Like that. That's the value of it. But in the immediate, if we beat them, it's what's wrong with Kalen DeBoer. And Paul, give us your best 90-second clip of being offended by this loss today.
And that poor guy at AL.com just lampooning Kalen DeBoer.
You lost to another man who wears latex on the sidelines instead of cotton and a collared shirt. He wore sunglasses, for crying out loud.
Man.
And you lost to him.
Yeah, well, I look forward to him having to write that column. It would be a wonderful one to read. Let's do some baseball stuff, shall we? It is time for probables, and I actually get to say this one with a smile on my face.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
You know why? Because we lead with a game that is in the books, one in which your Pittsburgh Pirates were once again victorious. A win over the Reds, 3-1. After a win over the Reds last night, 1-0. So we're still not scoring runs, but boy, we can pitch it. Buccos beat the Reds. Take the series. Suck it, Reds. Guardians Twins. I
believe that was several decades of politics when we were facing off against the commies and the Soviets.
Suck it, Reds.
Yeah, that's right.
Guardians Twins in the books. I think it's about to be in the books. Or is it in the books? It's warming up for game 2. Conclusion from another game. It'll be Logan Allen and Bailey Ober. We've got D-backs Dodgers late tonight. Why did I skip all the games? Orioles 3, Milwaukee 2. They're in the 9th. That's Tomoyoki, Sugano, Chad Patrick. Tampa Bay Rays 8, Houston Astros 4. They're in the 9th there. Hunter Brown, Taj Bradley. Cubs lead the Marlins 2-1. They're in the 9th there. That was Cade Horton and Max Meyer. Detroit has the best record in baseball, and they lead the Cardinals 5-1 in the 9th inning of that game. Brant Herter and Andre Palante. Mariners, White Sox. Seattle and the White Sox are tied at 4. They're in the 6th. That's Logan Evans and Shane Smith. Just started Royals, Giants. Daniel Lynch the 4th. Logan Webb goes for the Giants. The Nets? Are you kidding me? The Braves lost yesterday. They fell back to 500 again. They can't stand prosperity. Now 24-24. A.J. Smith-Shawver going today for the Bravos. The Nationals will throw Trevor Williams, former Pirate. Mets, Red Sox. Tom's favorite pitcher, Tyler McGill on the hill.
Yeah, that's great. He'll be a stopper. We're scuffling.
Garrett Crochet goes for the Red Sox. You're going to keep scuffling. That's not a good matchup.
That's 5 out of 6 to 6 out of 7 L-skis.
Yeah, it's going to be a toughie. 29-20 are the Mets right now. Rangers, Yankees. Jacob deGrom.
I take it a bit.
You seen Jacob deGrom's resume this year?
Just hoping his arm stays intact because he's doing his thing.
He's back to being Jacob deGrom. 4-1 with a 2.29 with 53 Ks. Ryan Yarbrough goes for the Yankees. Padres, Blue Jays, Randy Vasquez, Kevin Gossman. Phillies, Rockies, Tawan Walker, Carson Palmquist. By the way, Carson Palmquist. Yeah.
That sounds like something my mother would ask, is Carson Palmer playing? And she'd ask it wrong.
Yeah.
Is that Carson Palmquist? Didn't he win the Heisman?
Carson Palmquist, like many Rockies pitchers, has an ERA over 10. The Rockies are 8-40. The Rockies are on pace to win 25 games. That's true. 25. Sir, you realize that their opponent, the Phillies, currently are 30-18, may have more wins on May 21st than the Rockies will have all year. When you put it that way, ouch.
So I just took a gander at the NHL standings. The Chicago Blackhawks had 25 wins on the nose. The Blackhawks, same market. Or sorry,
No.
I was thinking White Sox.
Yeah.
But only the San Jose Sharks would finish with fewer wins in the sport of hockey than the Rockies would finish with in baseball.
How are you on pace to win 25 games in a baseball season? I've never even heard of that. I legitimately think that you could take the Rockies AAA club and let them play in the same uniforms that the Rockies are currently playing in, and they would do just as well, if not better.
Probably so.
I don't know how they couldn't. Angels A's. Cockinowitz. Yeah. He's on the hill today for the Angels. JP Sears going for the Athletics. And then finally, we round it out with the scuffling Dodgers. 30-19 scuffling, but they got some pitching issues. Corbin Burns goes for the D-backs. They miss him in Baltimore. Dustin May goes for the Dodgers. Frizzy-haired Dustin May. That's a look at those that shall reside on the bump. And that is that. Good work out of you, Tom Lang. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you at 93.3 and at Warchant. On here, the Jeff Cameron Show. Always. Until tomorrow. Peace. Oh, Jesus.